And we are live. What's up, everybody? It is Ebontis here with the Last Word Podcast. I got my co-host Ty, Guy, Travis, and a special guest joining us. Lord Cognito will be joining us shortly, so we are going to chat and catch up for a little bit as he is literally going to be coming in real hot to his seat around the campfire. Travis, how are you doing this evening, sir? Been busy having fun playing games, or what's going on?
Doing great, man. I'm working on a review right now for a game that comes out on July 29th. That game is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's right. Yeah, I got my copy of that game a month early, and I'm working my way through it. It is a very long game. It is a very long game, people, but I
Maybe
will
like
have
200-hour review or something.
It's going to be a 200-hour probably playthrough.
That's insane.
That is not a joke. It is probably going to be about
yeah.
200 hours. So yeah, I'm a good chunk of the way through the game. I've had it for like a week. Other than that, my review for Outriders World Slayer went up. I did a couple previews for smaller games this week that went live, and yeah, I'm on the grind, man. I'm on the grind. Also playing some Destiny.
Yeah.
Also playing Fall Guys and Naraka Blade Point. Has anybody played that? Pretty great game.
So I haven't jumped into that one yet. It feels like
Battle
it would
Royale.
speak to me, but yeah, it's like I haven't.
Pretty good. It's like a battle royale with some hack and slash Souls like stuff going on. It's pretty cool. Yes, G-Man, it is true. The Xenoblade cult is going to come to destroy me. I'm ready for it, man. I do not care.
And it's like unless it's a 9.9, it is not good enough in that when it comes to that game. That's what you said before.
Yep, my review score will never be high enough for those fanatics, but that's okay. You know,
like I gave it a 10. It should have been an 11. Thanks. I appreciate your. It should have been perfect 11 out of 10.
Let's just say I learned a lot from the last time I reviewed a Xenoblade game. Let's just say that. I now know some of their holy cows I'm not allowed to touch, and I've decided that in my final review, though I will talk about whatever I want to talk about, I'm not going to show footage past the first 2 chapters of the game. I've already recorded all the footage that I plan on using in my review, regardless of what happens, because people are so sensitive about spoilers. If my mic is too hot, I can turn it down.
I got you. I'll mess with it.
Okay.
I'll try and balance everybody out.
I don't want to be too
I wanted
hot.
to actually ask you before we get into Destiny. Quick thoughts on Outriders World Slayer. I got early access. I know you did too. You played it. You got your review out, and I think your score is fair. It's weird because I know we've literally talked about this before. Like, what is the value? Is the price okay? And you're like, I can't take that into it. What is it just for what it presents to itself? This one, I wanted to ask you just a specific question because price aside, because you can have your debate about that the entire time. I feel like this expansion, it almost deserves a different value because if you buy Outriders now as a full package, I feel like it's one experience versus if you are a player who played like I did, played like 50, 60, 70 hours when it came out a year ago, and now I get this. I feel like those two people are going to experience this differently. Do you agree in that statement? Do you feel like I played like 60, 70 hours, now I jump into this and I'm like, okay, I see this in a certain way, as opposed to somebody who's now going to be able to like play Outriders now and go straight through the entire thing for a full complete package?
Somebody who did that would certainly have a better experience than people who bought the game last year. That is for sure true. However, I was reviewing just the new content, right? So I'm reviewing the expansion. So, my overall thoughts are that if you liked Outriders, the base game, Outriders World Slayer does everything well that the base game did, except for it does it even better. But all the stuff that it did poorly, it still does them all poorly. And it's kind of crazy, like how much they were just like, we're going to double down on the stuff we did great. And then they were like, well, what about the criticisms? And they're like, yeah, we can just
stick with the status quo. Yeah. I mean,
stay the course. Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely see that point because people who played the base Outriders game, there really wasn't an end game. Once you got to the end, you just had to do the same 15 missions over and over again, right? And this actually has a designed end game, which is great. So I liked it a lot. It still has a terrible story, still has a few technical glitches and stuff like that. I saw that the servers had problems. I predicted that would happen again.
That's surprising no one.
But it was a fun ride while I played it. It is a junk food video game in a good way. should take that as a compliment.
I mean, me, when I played it the first time around, I played like hardcore for like about the first 50 hours in a course of like 5 or 6 days. And then like petered off a little bit as friends had some technical issues, as you said. But it's like my time I spent with it before, there are things that the game does very well, as you said. And now you have like Apocalypse Loot, which takes the loot system to another level, which really is kind of one of the best things they could have done for the entire game. But then on the other side, as you said, it's like, how's the story? You still have the occasional like cutscene moments, and then there's weird like loading where it's like, here's a load, and it's like, and then I go back to this point, and then it goes back to a cinematic, and it's just like some weird kind of disconnected jumps and technical things. I do think it's a fun game, but it is one of those that it's like, if you played it before, if you really liked it and you wanted more of it, that's what you're gonna get. If you liked it and you kind of peter out and you're like, oh, is this like going to reinvent the wheel? Nope. And I think that's why I was just curious about that question. So I thought it was a fair review. It's just depending on your perspective where it's coming on, you could look at the new one as like a 5, or you could see it if you bought the whole package, you're like, this is kind of an 8. I mean, it could fall somewhere anywhere in there. So that's fair.
Yeah. I think calling the expansion itself a 5 was kind of harsh because it doesn't have that big of sins. Like it is a very competent shooter. It's a lot of fun playing it. I played the entire game with 3 people, and that's just like it's a super fun ride. It just doesn't have a whole lot of substance. It's like a nice slasher movie, right? You know what you're getting. You go in, you see the bunch of people get murdered, the girl gets away. The movie ends with the
It's
bad
gonna be
guy
like, I know what
sitting
you did
upright.
last summer. You know what you get. It's not like
Yeah,
Scream 1 where it's like, okay, that was
yeah.
actually cool.
It's not going to win any awards. It's not
Yeah.
going to win like an Oscar, but it's a fun time, and that is worthy of your time and money if you care to spend your time that way. So I had fun with it, man. I always liked the Outriders and the base game and all that. So
Well, I know Cog will be coming in here any second, but I do want to
wait,
bring
this
in
isn't
our.
Cog? What is that? Are you sure?
No, he's got that little rogue gray streak
Yes,
coming in.
the
It's
wisdom
fashion.
patch, yeah.
Cog
He's
told me
look.
he was going on
It's
a new
been here.
diet, so
It's
I
been
just
here.
figured.
Yeah, Cog just leaned up a whole bunch, but he lost his
Yeah.
shoulders.
Yeah.
Now, everybody, tonight we are joined by the one, the legend, illPhysics. Man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I can't
I
complain.
gave you the big lavish intro before. Sorry, I don't have one again. So.
No. That one was good for the entire set of the series for sure. Yeah, you took me back with that one, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm doing good. I appreciate it, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure always to be invited and come hang out with you, you fine gentlemen, especially Trav. With on brand as always. On brand as always.
No, I mean, it was
Dude.
great to see you at GCX. You got
Yes.
when your journey to get there seemed like it was hell, because I swear you got there at 1 o'clock in the morning, whenever Friday night
Yeah,
maybe you got
I
there.
got there pretty late.
How was
Yeah, I got there
GCX for
pretty
you?
late.
Because I know, I mean, we chopped it up when we had our day afterwards. But how was GCX for you? What did you
GCX
think
was
about the whole
great.
thing?
I loved it. I think that anybody attending for the first time, especially this is something that I kind of kept in mind. Anybody attending for the first time, obviously we're still post-COVID, right? Obviously that's still like a huge concern, and a lot of folks that attended. I mean, it was kind of inescapable, the fact that some folks were going to come down with COVID. It seemed pretty mild across the folks that did.
Yeah.
Once they got back, so that was a blessing. But it was just inevitable that it was just a new beginning for GCX, right? As far as vendors, showing up, as far as the density of activities, and also just I thought it was a great showing, as far as like I think it went beyond my personal expectations on how many people showed up, and what the actual attendance was, But I think everybody's always got to keep in mind that we're post COVID. This is the first GCX, post COVID, and so for that, keeping with expectations, it was great as far as attendance by both vendors. Like I said, density of activities and things that they had for us to do, and as far as attendance, and the folks that I was able to see there, but. I loved it. It was my first GCX. Yes, it was a little bit of trouble, getting there. I had a canceled flight on
Ugh.
Friday, but it truly wasn't as bad as some other folks were, unfortunately had it. Like
I
my
think Epic
friend
Dan never got to show
Epic
up or
Dan,
something.
yeah, never got there. So
Really?
yep, never got there. He
I
he
hope
was
he
the
got
main
his
person I
money
was
back
actually
for the
supposed to hang out.
hotel.
I hope so too. So, but it was beautiful. In the sense of just in my experience, at the very least, all the egos faded. Any perceived egos or actual egos faded. And everybody just seemed like they were all on the
You
same
didn't talk to
page.
Travis very long, did you?
Well, I only talked to Travis for about a minute, you know? It's common knowledge that after a minute, that's when Trav starts like,
Yeah.
reminding you of where he works, how he works, how great he is, how great his hair is, things like that. So I try to keep it to a minute anytime that we interact on a
Short
one-on-one
bursts.
basis,
Smart.
That's how you
Yeah,
describe
short
Smart,
bursts.
Travis.
man.
Most
Interactions with
That's a
definitely.
Travis.
that's a really good Travis friendship meta you've
Yeah.
developed.
Yeah.
You don't really get close friends out of that one, just a whole bunch of acquaintances, but it's what you can do.
It's my specialty.
And so, but no, it was great because, like I said, it just seemed like everybody was there to connect. Everybody was there to kind of, just mix it up, have a drink, have a conversation, whether short or long. Um, I didn't have a single poor interaction, whether it be with a peer, a creator, and I was just taken aback by. I've been to different gaming cons, I've been to anime cons, et cetera, et cetera. I've never been to a con before where folks recognized me and appreciated the community that I've built over the last several years. So that was something that truly took me back for sure. And yeah, it was a blessing. It was a lot of fun. And when people say it kind of lit kind of a burning fire with regards to them coming back and creating content and community. It's true. It's true. It was an inspiration. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of I had one bad experience in 2019 with somebody who was like, "Hey, who are you?" I was like, "I think I know who you are," kind of thing, and they're like, "Oh, you don't know who I am." They were a little high on themselves, but that was one out of literally everybody I've met over the past couple of
was
like
it Trav?
2019. No,
It
Was it
was
that's
Trav?
me, yeah.
yeah, it was
Was it Trav?
Travis. That was
I
the
was pretty
first time I met
upset.
him. That's why we brought him
Yeah.
on the podcast.
It's
Really, I
like, you
just
don't
had
know
to.
who I am.
Yeah. Now we can't make
I
that
don't even
excuse
remember who
anymore.
it was at this point, but I would.
You really
I'm
don't?
no, I really don't. I can't remember the
Oh,
name, and it's probably
you're
because
just
I
you're just being nice. You would remember.
I agree. I
Come
think
on.
I'd remember
I
Yeah.
that.
think I was like, I may, but there was somebody again. I didn't quite remember the name, and then they were so much of a turd. I didn't go look them up anyway after that because I was like, I'm not gonna go like figure out who you are. So I
Mm.
may know the name, but I probably could get it wrong. So I don't want to call the wrong person out. So that's why I never into. But no,
Of
I was like,
course, of
same
course.
thing. Like so many people are so nice. You get a chance to talk. Like those who had booths were really cool to talk to, or their little booth section and everything. But I mean, just running into anybody in the bar was so much fun to chit chat with a bunch of people. So
It
yeah, I can't
was,
wait for
yeah.
2023. And I think, as you said, like GCX, COVID was kind of like a rebuilding year for a sports team. Feel like next year's enough of the FOMO is going to be in there for a lot of people to go back. We may not get Travis back, but a lot more people will probably be going. So it's a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
flight from Cali for Travis. So
It is,
and
dude.
his
And
britches are a little
Florida.
bigger. He goes to the big cons. GCX is not enough for the man who only wears suits, and Florida's too hot for a man in suits. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
No, I'll go if Bungie goes. I need some distance from Florida after that. Whew,
You get
it's
about
hot as
a
hell.
year and a couple months. It'll be August, so at
Yeah.
least it'll be hotter, which is good.
Yeah. I'm just
Um,
glad they're not doing it in June because that's why I haven't been able to go in the past. Is they always do like it's either August during Gamescom or June during E3, and I have to cover both of those events. So
Mm.
we'll see.
yep. Well, Cog will be here probably any second, but I wanted to kind of catch up with you. We may do this a little bit out of order since we'll get him for some of the story stuff. I wanted to ask you with regards to this season. We know obviously massive Crucible player that you do. Can't pull Hawk Moon out of your hands unless it's just an odd day or some reason. So we know you love your time in PvP. I wanted to get
course.
your thoughts on this season's Sandbox, how it's been feeling to you, if like all the uproar on Twitter is worth it, where the mods and everything are playing in. How has this season's Sandbox treated you as a generally PvP player?
I'll keep saying it. I think people are just overreacting in a lot of ways, man. This is not stasis meta, This isn't you getting frozen and it just objectively unrewarding first person shooter, plays. Um, yes, the heal meta, the heal nade meta is annoying, but it's nowhere near that, man. Bungie has righteously, nerfed and adjusted some strong special weapon outliers. In particular, there's a strong primary meta going on right now, and maybe that's the reason was since one hit kill weapons are on the decline, right? Um, Maybe that's also the reason why. I mean, one hit kill weapons are on the decline. primary weapons, people are, whether they're peek shooting with them or whatnot, they actually have to get multiple shots into the enemy in order to take them out, allowing folks that want to heal, to dip back behind cover, heal, or whatever. So maybe that's the frustration is the one-hit kill weapon usage rates, dipping, while the ability for people to heal and to come back for second and third chances is increasing based on these heal mechanics. But um, I just think people are taking for granted what's being thrown at them. Honestly, I really do. I deeply, deeply, deeply feel that that's the case, and I think that people need to continue to give. It's crazy that I am saying this, but people do need to continue to give Bungie some time to kind of push through this meta, see what Arc 3.0 is going to be about. But I'm having a blast for the most part. Yeah, there are definitely some days where the cheese gets a little bit too much for me. Where I mean, that's Destiny. My buddy Lunar has said it right. Destiny is rarely in the best state where you could take the most competitive game modes and competitive elements of the game, mix them all together in something like a flawless pool or 5500 comp, and distill that down to the degree that you're going to get rewarding gameplay. I say that because once you get up like 5500 comp, where you're facing 5500 teams all the time, or once you're in the flawless pool, facing those, you're going to get the Ami Oculuses, you're going to get the Lord of Wolves, you're going to get all that together. You're going to get the Rents. You're going to get every oppressive mechanic. You're going to get that mixed into many of the games that you play in these atmospheres. So yes, that's always kind of something on the on the backdrop you have to keep in mind. But and those things, definitely, I play those atmospheres a lot. I don't play a lot of flawless pool just because I don't subject myself to that. I'm not gonna. But I have been playing quite a bit of 5500 comp and doing comp help and things like that. And there are days I definitely have to take a break. But I think if there was one message from me with regards to this meta, is it's an overreaction, and people just do not. They're taking for granted, where we were and where we are right now. Not just the meta that we're in, but also the support that PvP is currently getting and how we are ramping up towards Lightfall to get something. I feel like I'm really feeling like it's going to be something special. PvP is going to be something special when Lightfall gets here. So I remain optimistic. I'm having a good time in PvP. Of course, like I said, there are days I got to take breaks, but overreaction in my opinion, and folks need to just focus on the positives for right now. And there's plenty of them, and stop just complaining all the time. And that's, again, something coming from me. Yeah. So
Travis, you were given that like the okay sign. Where do you
Well,
how's Crucible been treating you this season? I don't think we actually have gone into that as
I
much
haven't played
personally.
a ton, to be honest. Yeah, I've sort of fallen off it a bit, although what I have played. So I will say, first of all, I think people should be complaining because that's how the game gets better. I'm a big complainer, big advocate, and that is why they should delete warlocks.
you came in on a good you came on a good part,
Oh,
Cog.
did Cog just enter? Oh, I didn't see Cog enter the chat there. I was just talking and
we
finishing
can't hear
my.
you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just finishing my 20-minute monologue. So yeah, good.
Now, Cog is
Hey Hill, how you
here.
doing, buddy? Look at me. Hey Hill, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify again. I'm not saying, just like Travis said, I'm not saying that folks shouldn't complain. I'm just saying there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of not recognizing how far we've come. That's all. I feel like people are
100%.
taking
So that's what I
a lot
was
for
going to
granted.
follow up. Yeah, that's what I was
Exactly.
going to follow up with. Is I 100% agree. Like, or I think that people should be complaining because that you gotta let Bungie know what they can improve on
Of course.
at all times.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
What's up, Cog?
What's
I do
going on?
think that there is a lot of hyperbole though, where people are like making it seem like it's the end times for Destiny PvP, and I would say that we've been through much worse. We've been through years-long content droughts for PvP. We've been through stasis. We've been through double primaries. We've been through a whole lot worse than we're at now. And I think
Mountaintop. I mean,
Mountaintop, that's right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Recluse
there's
era. Although you know what's funny is people look back at those at Mountaintop and Recluse now and are like happy about it. They're like, oh
What I'm
yeah,
saying,
those were
that's
the
what I'm.
days.
That's how you know folks are
Yeah.
delusional when folks are
Yeah.
looking back on Mountaintop Recluse like era. When folks are looking back, dog. When folks are looking back on Stasis Meta, Beyond Light, and saying they would prefer that over this, that's how you
Yeah,
know I mute you. I mute you. I don't care who you are. If you're saying some delusional stuff like that, I mute you 100%. I don't care who you are. It could be TTV. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be True Vanguard, man. I would mute him in a second. I swear to
Gotta get
God.
that mute.
You getting it, man? Delusional.
Yeah. We've seen some things. We've been through some things. Some
Exactly.
metas.
We've been
Some
through the Crucible,
yeah,
baby. We've been
we've been
through the
through it.
Crucible.
We've been through
welcome,
it, man.
Cog. Happy to have you. I know you had some stuff
Thank
going
you.
on, but happy to have you
Yeah,
here.
appreciate y'all. Appreciate
We
y'all.
are
Life
literally
got in the way.
Hey, life happens. That's why
Yeah.
it helps to be able to roll with it. Wanted to ask you those. We're just literally talking about how has Crucible felt for you just this season as a whole so far? Just on an overall feeling. People complain about the mods and all that stuff. Just kind of how's it felt to you? Not the trash fire that is Twitter's replies and things of that nature.
It's been weird. I played a lot of Crucible this season. I played a lot of Trials this season. I've seen some things, that I'm not necessarily thrilled with, but at the same time, overall, I would say right now with the changes to resilience, kind of like specking into like anti-flinch kind of builds. I've been doing that. I've seen the anti-air effectiveness stuff. I do agree with that sentiment that even though you got to build into it, I don't know if it's really as efficient as they would have hoped. And I know they're still tweaking things on the back end. Matchmaking is still a problem. I still have issues. Especially we talk at nauseum as a trials player. When there's no freelance playlist, it's really tough. It's almost for me avoidable because it's like I know I'm gonna get matched up, as the team going up against the two stack, kind of a thing. So I almost at this point was like, let's just make freelance mandatory, kind of a bit. As a person played grinded for the Iron Lord title, played a ton of Rift, liked the idea of it. Still got to make some tweaks there, but overall, it just felt good to play an objective based mode. I must admit, like I did like that aspect to it. So look, is it where it needs to be? No. There's still some things that need to be improved in the meta, but is it like the overall worst meta I've played? No. Is that we've definitely, like Physics said, like we've been through some really horrible metas, and the only thing I would say right now is I don't know what's going on with No Time to Explain, but I'm down with the team because I am pinching heads. Somebody was pinching my head because I had, bro. Let me tell you,
He's on it. He's on it, man. You want a dose, man. You want a
I'm
dose.
adapt. I will adapt. I came in there thinking I'm God
I think you
tier.
mean a cheat.
I came in there thinking I'm God tier, my little crafted God roll, peace of mind, elemental capacitor, perpetual motion. I'm like, I'm ready. I got the ideal thing, and I'm getting bodied.
Yeah.
But it was like Austrigger. Yeah, Austrigger and peace of mind were just getting me out of there. So I'm like, you know what? Let me dust this off right quick. Let me see what has happened. And I'm like, oh man, this is nice. This is nice. SMGs are very nice right now. Side offs are very
SMGs
nice.
feel very good.
And the last thing I say is I gotta say RIP to the shotties a little. Cause like, yeah it's like running down aping.
Yeah,
It's not working. And they got me, man. I'm a Lord of Wolves guy. They finally got me.
They finally took you out. I mean, you deserve it. You deserve
Dude,
it.
I know exactly what type of player you are,
Yeah.
Cog.
Tell me what type of player.
With that Lord of Wolves,
An adapt.
I know exactly what type of player
he's an adapt. He's an adapt. You know what that means? Adapt just means I'm gonna pull out that cheesy shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's exactly what it means. It means I'm gonna shadow dive relentlessly until
right.
Yeah,
right. I'm gonna watch this cool guy video real quick. Okay.
Well, that's the thing to do right now. All right, I'm on it. Yep.
Got it.
I love it. Hey, you have fun. Period.
Hold on, let me get my clan right quick. Shout out to Buddha Tail. He said, "Yvonne, you don't cognitive, don't play Destiny. Stop it. I saw you last night." Oh, Back for Dead. He said, "Hey, Buddha Tail, just play with his more popular content." I don't even get that. I get accused.
Hey, I gotta ask Cog a question.
What's up?
Question. So I need an estimated time of delivery for your Crocs, sir.
Oh, that's not happening. You start trouble. Those are an abomination. We need to get rid of those. If you are wearing those, God bless. But I feel you have
You guys are
given up
about to
on
have
fashion.
the Iron Lords podcast is literally about to split up into 2 podcasts on Sunday. Those who wear Crocs and those who don't.
You've been listening to Define Duke, I see. And King is
And
definitely
watching
outside.
Twitter. Have you not seen King on Twitter? He is, as
I
you
see him
guys
today.
say, he's outside with his Crocs.
Yeah. I see him today. I don't know what he did today.
No,
I don't know what
nothing
he did.
specifically today,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
he's
shout out to King though. He
I feel like
repping.
the only way you can pull off Crocs is if you have the body of King David. I can't wear Crocs.
Yeah, Travis. Yeah,
me
no.
neither.
I already
Me
have
neither.
too little going for me that identifies me as a man. I can't pull off Crocs.
Oh God.
It's not going to work. You know, I
Not doing
That sound
yourself much
toxic.
justice there,
That
sir.
sound
Yeah.
toxic
Careful.
to me. That sound.
I'm too much of a scion to you guys. You guys could wear Crocs.
I love
Dude.
that side to the cabal.
To
Centurions.
legionaries escorting their scion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Salute.
Well, we will get back to the changes coming to the Sandbox here in a second, but we got our 6th week of the Sever mission. We got resolved this week. We got to see Caiatl work out some of her pain points and kind of get a different side of Gaul that we got towards the end. Wanted to get your guys' take on this week's mission, and then also, once we kind of get our takes, I want to see where you guys think Season 7 / end of the quest may leave us or where we may go. So, Tony? Physics?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to defer. I was having a mental health week, so I
Oh,
haven't even
fair.
caught up.
Oh,
I
wow.
haven't even caught up. So
Are
He
you
was,
okay? Are you okay if we
confronting
go
his
into
own
details
demons.
about it? Are you okay if we go into details about it?
yeah, no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I was just having a pretty down week. I haven't, streamed for the last few days. I just have been sleeping a lot, which is telltale signs of having a down.
Sometimes you got to do that.
downtime,
Sometimes you got to unplug and recover.
So
Totally
yeah,
fine.
just unplug. Like charge back up. It's kind of one of the. It fed a little bit into. I'm a Twitter guy, but man, like I said, when I say that
hard.
even my Twitter 99% of the time is very pleasant. Like the way that I have it set up, the way that I have it curated, who I'm following, who I've blocked, who I've muted. I curate that heavily, but even with my feed, that's one of the reasons why I feel like some of what's going on with PvP is a bit of an overreaction is because yes, I agree, complaining and constructive criticism, both of those necessary, in order for, developers to get that feedback, that necessary feedback. Obviously, we don't want it to take it to, harassing yawns type levels. Of course. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about complaining. But it's just gotten to the point, that it's just, I feel like it's a little too drawn out, a little bit too much. And like I said,
So
once
you're
I saw
saying that your trauma takes the form of a toxic Twitter user / commenter. So Caiatl has Gaul floating over her, right?
Okay. Oh, we're singing back. Okay, I'm
And
listening.
you've got like a whiny, toxic YouTuber or
Is this the
Twitter
anime
commenter.
profile picture, as Mercules would say, or something like that?
Yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah, it's just been kind of a tough week, and any sort of like excess negativity, I don't want that to like steal my energy. So I've just been kind of block that out as much as possible, get some rest, and come back
Hey,
strong. So I feel
we'll throw down some
definitely better today.
resonators for you here.
Well, I appreciate that.
Shout out real quick to
like it.
Necromancer
I like
Zale. Been enjoying the Cabal assistance in these last 2 missions. I actually did want to shout that out. Seeing
cool.
those guys actually walking through with you. And I gotta say, like, the Scions, if you chilled next to them, they have one of the creepiest growls of the 3. Oh yeah, just in this one specifically, when you're hanging in kind of the fan section before you go forward, because you always have to like get the shield, and they just kind of hang in there and just, kind of Peter shots at the shield. But it's the Scion itself. If you get close and just let him kind of do his little rumble or whatever they did to that voice, the Scion is, it sounds like that should be coming from the other 2, but that Scion has got like, he smoked way too much and now it's just coming out all raspy and everything. It's really hilarious, but I love the way the Scions, for one, how much bigger they are when you're standing next to them, but 2, go listen to that if you got to replay it, which you probably do.
Have you seen the Scions without the helmet on?
I don't know.
Somebody put a picture of that on Twitter, and that shit's been haunting my dreams. Y'all seriously haven't seen that?
Just I've never seen it.
I gotta look it
If
up
y'all are ready
now.
for like a cursed evening, like go look that up. Like a sign without the helmet on.
That's horrifying. You guys know that part where that part of that activity where
Oh, is that
you
kind of the similar here? I'm gonna copy a picture just to
do it.
ruin Tony's night so he can't sleep again. Is it something like
Yeah.
this? Because this looks like it's from the raid from the
It's
Leviathan.
Oh.
Is
supposed
it?
to be healing him. Wow. Oh
Oh
gosh.
wow. Yeah, that's different.
that's different. That's
Yeah,
different.
that's
Yeah, that's
okay.
different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys know that part where you
Mm.
jump down the fan and then
Yep.
there's
Yes.
those two big boys,
Yeah.
and you guys start walking down the hallway together.
Mm-hmm.
That was me at GCX with you two. Now you guys know what it's like.
Oh,
Coming
Yeah.
through me.
It's exactly
got the-
like that.
Got the
That's
got the legionary escorts. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
favorite scion.
they are a little creepy. It's kind of like in Independence Day when they got the shell and they peel that thing off.
Yeah, they peel it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, and you got the
Yeah.
creepy thing inside. So
Yeah,
it's always
okay,
always a
just
little creepy. So Cog, I
Mhm.
know you're always into the story. Have you got a
Little
chance to
creepy.
play it this week?
Yeah, caught up. It was interesting. It was interesting. I like the initial mechanic of killing that damn Galron. I always like trapping him up, and I don't know. I think it's funny they made a mechanic where this thing is invincible, is kind of stalking you, kind of thing. So you got to the story, and a little disappointed that it was the Gaul fight again in the same space again. But
I
I'm
mean,
like,
that's
all
the
right, cool.
cadence of what we've been doing.
What
so
did
it's
you
not-
expect?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. But it was interesting listening to the dynamic and Caiatl's resolution, like how she's more confident, how she's coming to peace with the situation. Like, look, I may have idolized you too much, and as far as because I felt he made some strong bars against her the last week about. Look what you got the cabal. You're following Lightbear. I thought he had strong arguments the prior week, but this week, she's coming into her own and was like, "Look, that what you guys did, it failed. You got killed. You got absorbed by the traffic."
Yeah.
Like she has some cold lines for him this week, so I thought that was cool. I liked her resolution. Her and Zavala having some nice, sweet talk again.
yeah.
And
I'm watching them.
that's going to be one of the best platonic friendships to watch in this entire game. I love when those two talk. Because have you heard the one where they talk about knitting?
Yes.
That is so great
Yes.
to picture those two hanging out somewhere on one of her ships, like he's up there for like a business lunch or something, and they have an afternoon where they're looking out into space, just like knitting. And I can just picture, I'm like, this is hilarious to me because for one, she's 9 foot whatever she is, and Zavala's over there, this Vanguard, and they're just sitting there with like a couple knitting needles passing the space time away, and it just kills me.
It's hilarious. I like the development there. I was a little surprised no Crow at all on this one. You know what I
Really?
mean? But yeah, I thought maybe we get a little bit because I felt, obviously we know this is Caiatl's focus. I
Yeah.
get it. But the thing I ain't gonna lie to, I really like the end because they threw a nice little monkey wrench for me where it's like, okay, you're thinking, all right, resolution, everybody's, exercised their demons, we're on to the next thing. And they were like, oh no. Callus has made the connection to the pyramid. There's this uneasiness that Eris has that we are not prepared for something. I like ominous stuff like that. It gives me a little Savathun vibe. Like, what is she gonna do, or what is Callus gonna do? Something's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be a character death. I'm not gonna go that extreme. But they wrapped it up in a bow too quickly at first, I thought. But then I like this ominous leave. So I'm just sitting back. What's gonna
Yeah,
happen?
next week.
Where's this gonna go left? Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Travis?
It was okay. It's alright. It was good. I mean, it was exactly kind of what I expected. She picked herself up, and I just wonder if I almost wanted her to be like, you know what, you have a point. I was pretty weak.
Ooh.
Because it just seems weird for a Cabal to be that in touch with their feelings. Like, this is pretty advanced stuff, and they're Cabals. They don't even have like words for retreat. I assume that mental health is also a word that they do not have in their vocabulary. Self-love, that's gotta not be one, right? So
But it's not that they don't feel those things, though.
that's true. They just don't have a word for it. Yeah, that's true. But if you eliminate the word for it, you eliminate the idea of it, according to 1984. So we got that going on. But yeah, I mean, we've said all the same criticisms before. It's a little too fast. It's a little too concise. it's a little too self-contained. It doesn't really follow like the larger story, but for what it is, it's decent. It's not as decent as that dog. Look at that guy. What is that?
Yeah.
Who is that? You gonna
Aw,
introduce
yep.
that creature to us? That Muppet?
She's
What's
been
that?
wanting to jump up for like the last half an hour. This
Yeah,
is Pretz. This is my baby girl Pretz.
Is it like
Pretz.
short for
Pretz.
pretzel or?
It's actually a Japanese snack. So if you've
Oh,
heard of Poke Sticks, if you've
yeah.
heard
Oh,
of
yeah.
Poke Sticks,
Yep.
yeah, it's the sister snack to that. Yeah, Pretz
Good.
Pretz.
sticks.
Pretz.
Yep,
Pretz.
Pretz. Yep. So
Nice.
she's 11 years old. She's a miniature schnauzer.
Schnauz.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was like,
Miniature schnauzer.
my oldest just turned 10. Raya just
My
turned 10.
oldest. You did not just describe your
Yep.
dog
Yes,
that
you
way.
did. I
I
love
have
it.
3 of them
Oh
now.
boy, my
Yes.
oldest.
Yep. Yep.
I'm
Well, he's
sorry.
pretty advanced for her age. You'd be surprised.
10-year-old husky. Yeah, she's seen some stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Mhm,
Yep.
You
Now
don't have
she's
to call your kids husky, okay? They're big boned.
Yo.
Right?
Enzo is the husky. Enzo's the 70-pound guy. So definitely there. No, I mean I'm kind of with both of you guys. I didn't have like big expectations because it's week 6 of 7. I'm curious what happens next week. We know from the trailer that somewhere we're gonna go into the robot room. There's gonna be a portal to take us somewhere. And as you guys have said, I enjoy what I've enjoyed. Like I enjoy just like turning the dialogue up, sound a little lower, and just listening to the characters talk because I've really enjoyed what they've done with just the voice acting for Gaul and Caiatl both. Gaul especially, I really like what they did with him, and then also each week the automatons. Callus is definitely coming into his own with his just absolute smug personality and everything else. I think he's just. I can't wait to get more of his interaction because of whatever that voice actor is doing with that character. I'm really, really
Yeah.
enjoying.
Mhm.
So it's kind of cool to see. Now we got the resolution. It is funny when you see the little memory projections in the helm. You got Safi, you got Aldrin, and then you got Gaul, who's
Oh.
massive compared to the other two, which is
Mhm.
fitting. But it is funny to actually finally see those in reference to each other.
Yes.
But yeah, when you finally go back and you expect, obviously, you're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, something has to happen next week because we know there's a 7th week, and then Eris doesn't seem to quite know what's going on. So are we going to go back into the pyramid? Are we going to like teleport from the Leviathan to the pyramid ship in week 7 and go have some interaction in there where we fight a different nightmare that's maybe ours? Or is this a point where we get like, a nightmare of kind of like what we faced before we went through Garden of Salvation? Are we going to face some kind of like copy of ourselves? I would love to see us actually fight a Nightmare Guardian to go through. So that would actually be kind of cool. So I don't know if they're going to take it that far. But again, also, as you guys are saying, I feel like this is kind of a catalyst to set up whatever
Yeah.
something towards Lightfall is going to be. But I don't know if we actually do get a tight resolution. It may be something that we might sever a connection or something may linger. Next week should be, I hope next week lives up to kind of what they've been building to. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I like being uneasy that the resolution, all the stuff that, because let's be honest, Eris, for the most part, when she has her plan set, what we do for her generally works, and she's like genuinely like, I don't feel comfortable with this. Like something is still brewing, something is cooking. What is he up to? He's communing still, and I love the Callus character. I think he's hilarious, first of all. But he's still seeking. He's still looking for what. And if he's communed with the witness, and if they could tie the witness back in again and get us back on track to that, we got the TV series version, what I call the season, and then we have the overarching MCU universe where we had Tom Farnsworth on. And I'm dying if they can make that connection back to the witness again. That would get me excited because he's to be honest, like that was the biggest. I'm still blown away that we saw him in Witch Queen.
Yep.
I didn't know that they would actually do it. I remember it was a great campaign, Savathun, okay, the whole bit, and then it's like, yo, they actually gonna show the big
this
bad.
this early too.
Yes,
Yeah, I feel like
yes.
this is relatively early for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we got to see. But yeah, they did their thing. It's going to be quick. You got to see how this thing, like, the next couple of weeks, how they resolve it or not resolve it.
Yeah, next week we'll see if there's a nice little bow on everything or if it just kind of goes into chaos. Should be not a bow.
Trav does not believe.
Yeah,
Not a
no
It
bow.
bow.
won't be a bow.
No
Maybe
bow.
a
No
tie?
way.
I mean,
It'll
I
be
honestly
like
hope it's not. That's kind of the thing. I'm with you. I hope it's not perfectly wrapped up in this little like seasonal package. I hope it's something happens that takes us forward. That's what I'm hoping
I got a
for.
No,
Travis. I got a Travis
it'll
question.
it'll be
Like,
somebody going, It was all the darkness the whole time, the witness. And that'll be it.
What do you
Like
do,
those thing where
Trav?
it's like it was just a dream.
Mm, I don't know. I was gonna ask you, like, what do you need? You think we ready for a character death? Well, that's too much.
They won't do that off season. Unless it's the factions that they're literally just getting rid of, as Tom told us. Those will,
You're like,
those
yeah,
will
you can just
die.
wipe those. Just erase those from the character list. It's fine.
Not any meaningful deaths. I mean, they can't really do that on this.
It's like I don't even know who they would go after right now. Nobody's set up to be in peril per se.
Yeah, that's true.
Are they going to wrap that? Are they going to wrap that up
Osiris.
as far as like the factions? Are they going to actually wrap that up in some sort of like storyline?
I think the factions are all.
Yeah,
Factions are done.
Factions are done. Like Lakshmi died, and the other ones just bailed, right?
Yeah, they bailed. Yeah.
They bailed, even though one of their organizations literally existed for the explicit purpose of not bailing, and they just decided that they were going to make that entire faction bail because that was a good storytelling.
100% with you. I did not like the new monarchy. Hideo would not do that, in my opinion. Now, what's funny is everybody did what Dead Orbit would do. Like
Dead Orbit totally makes sense. Make him leave.
Yes.
New monarchy should have stayed in some capacity. Future war cult should have all been brought to the guillotines. I think that they had a
wow.
I mean, they should have. They were
if
traitors.
You played Outriders, they have quite a.
We need a strong last city, okay? Either we have laws or we don't have laws, illPhysics. What are we going to do in this last city, okay?
They were out of pocket. Lakshmi was out of pocket for the revolution.
Oh, yeah, she got put down.
We got these fallen immigrants coming across our borders in the last city. We got to do something about it.
Tired of these falling at the soda machines down there.
They do look like they just layering down there. Every time y'all can't tell me like every time you queue into like the area, like that second area by
the lower one,
drifter down bottom, and they're just hanging, the fallen are just hanging at the rails right there, that you don't feel something. You know what I'm saying?
Every time you walk into the helm and you turn by those two big cabal by the door, every time I'm like, whoa. It's just like a split second reaction. I'm like, yep, you're still big and you're just hanging out in here.
Are racist. Y'all are racist.
That's what I'm alluding to. I'm just like,
no, it's
what are we doing here?
When he walks into that quarantine zone with the two big cabal, he clutches his glimmer a little more tightly. He hides his exotics a little bit. He's worried about them.
I'm dead.
I roll my windows up. That type of.
Listen, man, we got to get rid of these inherent
in all seriousness, they created an atmosphere that was pretty consistent. Yes. That's what I was trying to get at. They created an atmosphere that's pretty consistent with the feeling and like how some of the characters like Lakshmi were talking about, the immigrant fallen and things like that, So that's what I was kind of you felt that when you entered the city, like the placement of these characters. Like what are they doing here? What are they doing here? So and then you have to push back against that, of course. It's interesting. It's interesting.
It is. No, it was a very intentional, obviously intentional.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, it's just funny to see. It's just funny to see after that story passes, then the actual players describe the process of now sharing space with those people, and they're like a little bit like, this is going to take some getting used to, and you're like, oh my god, you guys are like my grandparents, like you're this, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's true. I love the fact that Bungie did push an interesting narrative into little real life situations into it, because let's be honest, we've been fighting these guys for so long, right? It's inherent. It's what it really resonates with me. When I had to do the New Light stuff over, because I had to create other characters to get the Iron Lord title, because I wasn't going to do it. I literally broke my own rule for that title. And I'm playing.
Wow, you did that.
He said it.
Yeah, I did it, man. I refused. I was going to do Warlock Life all day, and I was like,
wow.
No, I can't do it.
This is like learning that Bruce Wayne did kill like one or two people. Like this is.
So I'm going back and I'm listening. And it's like, it's so ingrained into the initial story of Destiny, of the Fallen being the enemy, and and then obviously Red War campaign, and now to see how far we've come with a Mithrax and a Caiatl, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting to see, man.
It's not as simple anymore. It's not as simple anymore, and that's great. That's great.
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's not great. It's not great for new light character people, by the way. New
oh
light folks
man,
are
no,
confused
no,
as
it's all
all
it's
else, man. I'll tell you, they got to be. If there is a single like demographic of player that I am the most both concerned for and that I feel for is new lights, man.
Like, yeah. Even before the
How?
PvP.
Oh, most definitely. Even
Yeah.
before the PvP. It's like
Yeah.
how do we even like? You really need somebody to hold your hand for
here. I've got homework for
weeks,
you. Here's 6
man.
hours of Fife's
Everybody should
channel
buddy
to
up.
go watch.
Everybody should buddy up.
Yeah,
Like
no,
it's not
no,
even YouTube. You can't even do YouTube anymore. Like you literally need somebody to buddy
yeah.
up with you
Every
and to
new
guide
player
you
that
through that
signs
PowerPoint.
in is assigned a mentor. So when you log in,
Yes.
you're like, hey,
Yes.
this character seems to play at about the similar times as you. You're there in your fire team constantly. Take them with you. Talk to them. Let's go.
Exactly.
Every new
Devil's advocate. Devil's advocate.
Let's go.
If you were an actual guardian who got rezzed present day in the Destiny 2 meta, you also wouldn't know what's going on in the story. And there would be no way to easily catch up. So maybe they're going for realism.
They go for realism.
Going for realism.
That pure experience.
All right.
It's a pure experience. That's right.
That's one of the better arguments I've actually heard. I'll be honest. Because at least realism wise, but on the other side, it still sucks for him. So
it does suck. It is a terrible game design.
I was like, that's
choice,
actually
but,
one of the better ways I've heard it phrased that you could play it off in the lore. But on the other side, yeah, there's so much amazing stuff. Because I mean, we had Tom on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about in the Red War missions, the one where you walk slowly and the music is slow and your power has been stripped from you. I'm like, the feeling in that mission is like. I was like, I'm sorry, Destiny 2 is doing what to me right now?
Yeah.
And that's that's not even there. They don't even get to be part of Cade going through that experience. We don't get to see Aldrin turn it. There's so many major pieces right now.
They won't know who the Colonel is.
Well, yeah, that's the worst part.
Yeah,
they won't ever be able to go to, the arcology on what the hell is that stupid planet?
Arcology.
That was a beautiful
Titan. I was just talking about that on stream the other night. That beautiful. I love that place so much.
I forgot about that planet.
Right?
Savathun's song is still to this day my favorite Nightfall. I love that Nightfall so much. Such a great Nightfall.
What Nightfall?
Savathun's song.
Doesn't exist. Never heard of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you can't show me the strike, it's not
you're
real.
right. You're right. I'd have to really go back and find something.
Go back and find it. Yeah, man.
I like that one too, man. I played that one a lot.
I love Sloan too. Like I love Sloan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Titan. Pacifica. Shut up.
Titans are boring. Sloan, what did she do?
You're
Did she do
killing me.
anything?
You're killing me. You're killing me. You're
He
killing
is
me.
a Titan. This is weird.
Making devil's advocate your whole personality.
That
here.
is,
I swear.
that is actually what he is.
Okay, so this is
That
the
is
first time
literally
I've
what he
heard.
does.
This is the
Hey,
first
there's
time
some
I've heard that there are
controversial thing.
Yes.
First time I've heard that there are Sloan stands. That's all I'm saying.
I loved Sloan.
What'd she do?
She was battle ready. She was steady. She looked cool. Yeah, I don't know. She was a straight shooter. Unfortunately, she did not have a very strong hold in the lore. But come on, man. This was. I mean, who did at that point? There were only a few people at that point that really did have, I feel like, a stronghold, active lore in the game where you felt connected to them.
That's fair.
After they vaulted her, that's when the story started to really start to come into play for quite a few of our favorite characters. So, But I truth be told, I didn't have as big of a hold with regard, like Sloan didn't have as big of a hold for me as like arcology and some of the set pieces on Titan. I really love water. I love Pacifica as far as a PvP map. I've always loved Pacifica. It's just a beautiful planet, a water planet. I'm
with you on the planet. I missed that whole look. It had such a unique setup and all that.
No, absolutely. I forgot about Titan, man. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we are. I guess we're not entirely sure what's going to happen next week, but yeah, it's like new players. At least they have it to where if a new player starts, they can see what happens within a year. That is an improvement over previous seasons. So we're at the point where they can experience a whole year. Even if they join in season 19, they can theoretically play it all. The pricing models, that's a different one we've gotten into. But before we get Arc 3.0 next season, we have some more changes coming to the Sandbox this season. And I wanted to ask our guest a question.
Yeah. Yep.
So right now in the world of Crucible, and we'll cover some of the changes in airborne effectiveness and all that type of stuff that you've got. As there are so many things now in the game, and we have this segment when it comes to helping the lowest man on the totem pole in PvP, this guy right here, Ebontis. We're going to help this guy get better in PvP, the average Joe. And there's things like airborne effectiveness. There are things like flinch that you can now build into. So many things that people don't know about. Where would you say, or what would you say is kind of an important thing for new players coming in to understand? They've looked at some of the 60/40 rule or the 2-second rule or some of those. They've gotten some of those, but they're still missing some of these behind the scenes things. Where would you rank the behind the scenes priorities to learn between, recoil direction stats on your gun? You've got aim assist that now is there, airborne effectiveness, some of these stats that we're going to know about next season, but we don't know right now.
I think airborne effectiveness has got to be like the biggest thing because people are going to intuitively come into the game and expect for their bullets to go where they shoot them. Even if they do a
That's
small
weird,
bunny
right?
hop off the ground, even if they do a small bunny hop off the ground, right? Not like a charged, not a charged jump or anything like that, a burst glide, anything like that. Even if they do just a little bunny hop off the ground, which looks and feels the exact same across all three characters, their bullets are not going to fly exactly where they shoot them, right? So I think that's just something that a new player needs to kind of keep in mind. If we're just talking about like back end things that are a little less known, things that are maybe a little bit newer, to the whole like PvP, the depth of the PvP system. Yeah. And the unfortunate thing about that obviously is that like I'm not going to go as far as I've said this many times. I'm not going to go as far as to say that the system implemented was half baked because I just don't agree with that. Because the system like is working pretty flawlessly outside of how you build into it. Outside of how you build into it, it's working pretty flawlessly on the back end. I'm pretty sure, like, I feel like, what they intended with regards to how aim assist ends up changing in the air, like dynamically and things like that. Like, that's got to be a really tough system to implement on the back end when it has never worked like that in in 7-8 years, you know? So now we can get into, like building into it and things like that with which they are slowly, they said it they just said it. Hold on. I'd like to just state it exactly how they said it. We were cautious about making weapons too easy to use while airborne at Season 17 launch, preferring to take some time to evaluate and then buff accordingly rather than having to nerf. So, like, it's a tough for everybody that's concerned about AE airborne effectiveness, myself included. That was probably the roughest edge of this new season launch of Season 17. I guess it's not new anymore. Like, yeah, it was just a really, it's growing pains. It's growing pains. But going back to exactly what you said with regards to new lights, I think that's the thing that, because the flinch stuff, it's just like your weapon is naturally going to have some degree of stability to it. It's naturally going to have you're naturally going to, as a new light, you're not going to value necessarily recovery over resilience. You're going to see these stats and you're not going to necessarily know that 100 recovery is generally what PvP mains are going to be running. You're thinking, oh, okay, well, resilience sounds good too. You're not going to know how important that is relative to mobility and recovery. So you're generally going to, and you're not going to be build crafting so heavily. So there's going to be armor that drops with a good amount of resilience. You're going to equip that just because that's what you have, or maybe that's the highest like power level or something like that. So, and I also argue, and I think most people would agree that flinch in the game is less of a determining factor in the outcome of an engagement versus airborne effectiveness when you're actually trying to utilize, something in the air. When you're trying to shoot your gun in the air or whatnot, and your bullet doesn't fly exactly where you're pointing it, that's something that's heavily impactful to the outcome of engagement versus getting flinched by a weapon, where you have some baseline level of flinch resistance based on just randomly having a certain amount of stability on your gun and randomly having a certain amount of resilience and that sort of thing. You're already kind of built into flinch resilience a little bit, whereas airborne effectiveness, nobody is just randomly built into airborne effectiveness. You truly do at this point have to like intentionally, explicitly build into that for you to feel any sort of difference and ensure that your bullets somewhat fly where you want them to fly, or where you're shooting, or where you're pointing, while you're in the air. So airborne effectiveness has got to be like the number one thing for new lights to kind of keep in mind if they're, trying to jump into the Crucible and have a rewarding experience.
It's so interesting. I'm listening to illPhysics, and it's like I'm thinking of, like, again, we on that conversation of new light and stuff. And someone in the chat said it too, like, man, like, if one thing about this game, it is great for content creators. Because this game, the minutia and all the different aspects of the meta that are tweaked and changed, and then we have the other PvP changes and PvE separate changes. Like, it's getting to that point now where I'm looking at a new light, and I'll use, like, he's not a new light, but I use Attic as an example. Like, he disappears for a while,
Yeah.
and then he comes back, right? So when he comes back to PvP, he's like, okay, well, what's the meta? Like, and I'm like, well, you got a bunch of different things you could use. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? What you call it, the head cans are now in a good place, or this RPM SMG is in a good place, that kind of thing. But I feel like every season it does change, which the creator in me, the meta lover in me likes that. But there's a part of me like, how can they translate this to the new, like, the person who's just trying to get into PvP, not understanding what airborne effectiveness this is, and not understanding how to spec to recovery or resilience and mobility, the things that would be critical for them to be, at least give them a better playing field as a foundation as a new PvP player. And that's the struggle. I'm like, and someone said in the chat, like, has the game, I'm gonna bring it to y'all, bring it to you, E. Like, has it gotten so complicated, like, that we can't really explain it? And then they change at such a cadence every season. Like, how does the new light guy be able to compete in PvP?
I mean,
Like, you know what I mean?
that's the hard part for one. We already covered story. They might feel lost is probably almost even a nice term at that point, depending on what piece they're stepping into. They're like, hey, where's Caiatl? Where's she coming from? Okay, we had this other season. We didn't know what was going on. But I mean, if you sit there and you break down what is in like a Mercules spreadsheet, you've got cones and accuracy angles, and then you've got airborne and when you jump, and now you've got aim assist, depending on what your input method is. And then, like, even the way the stats work now, it's like if you jumped in and you actually went into, if there was even a tutorial saying, hey, range is going to extend how far your weapon is effective, both, the drop off distance and those types of things. Stability, the longer you hold down the trigger, the recoil direction, which you can't even see in the game, it's going to veer left, it's going to go straight up vertical. None of that stuff is explained to a player basically ever. So when you get to a point where a new player comes in is like, hey, I point my gun and shoot, cool. But then it's also, how do I figure out how all this stuff works? And part of it, some people can say, is like, okay, well, you can sit there and fire a gun at a wall and be like, okay, this thing goes left. The problem with Destiny, and which hopefully in Season 18 that's going to change, is when they said at least airborne effectiveness is going to be a stat shown in-game, and hopefully the other stats are going to be that way as well. They better put aim assist, recoil direction, airborne effectiveness. I don't know if where flinch would go, but that's like the things that you can build into should be shown somewhere on your character. Like, what is the aim assist on this weapon? 23. I don't know. What does that mean? Well, this one's only got 5. Okay, so that's going to help a little bit. The recoil direction. Okay, show that number, and just like even Dim has it, show the direction that thing's going to go. So if I look at a wall and I'm veering left, I know why this gun has this recoil this direction versus this going straight up the middle on the other side. Without testing all the weapons and going through and either finding these websites or things like that. But the casual person who buys Destiny, checks out the story because a friend told him so, and then plays every so often, may not care about that much stuff. And there's a lot that they can look into, but I do hopefully see some changes in Season 18 making that a bit easier. But to say that it's complicated for a new player, I think is an easy thing to understand. Because
I'm sorry.
oh, no, I was just going to say, because I listed off half of that stuff, and that probably doesn't even cover everything of how a gun works when you try and aim and pull a trigger. And much less, as, physics said, it's like jump. Now you got airborne effectiveness. You have no aim assist, but on the ground, like, so many different things affect how your gun shoots another player that, a veteran has even that much more knowledge, much less just the skill. Skill plus knowledge is two different things, and both are going to take time to get to. But some of them for a new player, like, they're at a substantial disadvantage, and the learning curve is going to be a steep one in this game, I think.
The last point I'll add, I'll give it to Travis. It almost feels like in the new light experience, the same way we have Shaun or whatever, remember in D1 there was this quest called the True Meaning of War, and Shax would give it to you, and it would be like you would have to get kills with like each weapon type or just do different modes and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if we kind of need like a handheld onboarding. Obviously, it's not going to be intricate with all the different statistics and minutia, but just to get someone confident in feel of how things work from an archetype standpoint, I think that's a mission. Like because what I'm getting at is that I feel like a lot of people they'll play it, they get demolished, and they're like, nope, I'm good, right? And they won't put in the work or even try after having that negative experience. And Destiny's one of those games that, yeah, you have to put in the work. But I feel if there was a way that they could get a little bit of a better understanding, not, I'm not trying to take money away from my content creators, of course. Shout out to Fizz. But I'm just saying, like, Bungie needs to onboard PvP guys.
I
Like,
agree.
there's no
I agree.
onboarding. It's
And
just,
and
yeah, again.
and with regards to what you say, like, look, I care about the health of the game before I care about like anything that comes with regards to my pockets, like because in the end, I can always, personally for me, I feel like I can always make some content. I can content creator. I'm creating content. Like I don't expect content to fall in my lap. Right. So I'm trying to find an angle, a niche that works for me and create content that folks enjoy that other folks maybe don't have the perspective on or the angle on, and then kind of expand from there. So I care about the health of the community and the health of the population and the health of the gameplay experience. That being the case, I'm 100% behind, like them giving some sort of like onboarding experience because knowledge is power, right? To just use a simple cliche, knowledge is power. And so when folks know more about how a gameplay loop, how a game is going to operate when they jump into it, then they can set expectations. And when they set those expectations, and the game operates according to those expectations, even if it is not the most, even if it's not immediately the way that they would want it to be per se, but at least they know, ahead of time, then they can make more better decisions about whether they want to stick with it or not. I think expectations are just such a huge part of the gameplay experience. If you give folks expectations that they can see in play, then I feel like they can better temper the downsides of a game and push through them to the degree that they adapt and overcome.
I still think this game, I mean, Gambit is screaming for a tutorial massively for any new player to be able to go through and say, here's a tutorial match or something like that. But even make it optional, but have somewhere in the game. I mean, the timeline is like a little brief preview of the story. Have somewhere in the game where like, hey, do you want to learn about stats? Because I will give Outriders, a little bit of props, because if you go into some of their help tutorials and things like that, I think it's still there from probably a year ago. I just haven't looked. They go through a lot of detail of explaining what this thing does. What does weakness do? What does this do? What does this do? What do all these things do? And it could be like range. And it's like, this is, how effective your weapon is. And there could be like a little demo video. It's like, if you're this close, it works like this. If you're this far away, it works like this. Range will help the effectiveness. Like, and there could be little things just explaining what stats on weapons mean. And it would not be a required thing to do, but if that's something like one person at Bungie could work on putting together that package of here's like tutorials for players, that would be one of those things I think that would help, especially once those stats are in game, like to go with season 18. If you see a stat there and you're like, I have no idea how this works. And it's like, and they could put that stuff in the game, be like, what does your reticle look like when you jump? What is it not? And there's your Fallouts and the other people who are doing that. But it just would be one of those, it's a big ask. I get that. Don't get me wrong.
It's a big development ask.
I get that. It's like I get that, but like the way that Destiny is gonna like thrive as a franchise is still getting players to try it, which is a hard enough hurdle between the weird pricing models that we have, and then obviously when some content goes away, they hear these things and the war stories about it. But on the other side, if somebody does try it, some of those tutorials could be in there and be like, hey, you need to go do Gambit. Okay, well, you don't tell them how to play Gambit. You just say, go play. That's it. I mean, you don't even say, hey, go pick up the motes. When you have 5, you get this happen. Unless you like have been reading TWABs or go look up a tutorial video of how Gambit works on YouTube, there's not much in there. Solo players is like another discussion, but that's the thing.
Brief overlays during loading when you fly. Like a sentence or two, you press A. kind of thing.
I mean, to a point, but I mean, you do
Yeah.
for something like Gambit, this PvPvE mode, there needs to be some kind of explanation. Travis is laughing at me the entire time,
Yeah,
so
Travis is cooking. I got something for him
and you
too.
guys
Go ahead,
probably
man.
think everything I'm asking for is completely stupid or not going to happen because it's just an extreme request, but it's just it would be nice for that new player. We already know the story is a hurdle. Let's make some of the mechanics in the game somewhere that they can find. Even if they're tucked away on like a help page, it doesn't have to be front and center, but if they went and looked, they might be available.
Well, I'll just say one small thing before we toss it over to Travis and let him bring it home for us. But one thing I will say is everything doesn't have to necessarily be spelled out too. Why? Because I'm going to give you an example. There's a certain fragment on the Solar 3.0 subclass. That fragment says when you get a solar weapon kill, I believe it's a solar weapon kill. You equip it. When you get a solar weapon kill, it gives you restoration. Restoration is the perk whereby you get max recovery for a certain amount of time. It's like, and it stacks, but
Yeah.
let's just move beyond that. And so, but that's something naturally that I'd want, so for example, I've been using mind benders a lot, which is a solar shotgun. So I shotgun one person, there's another in front of me. If I have all this stuff equipped, if I have that fragment equipped, I have solar 3.0 equipped, and I have that solar shotgun equipped, then I get max recovery, instantly start getting recovery after that first shotgun, and push into the next one to try to get that hero moment for that second shotgun. Maybe get into a third one. There's 3 things that I need to have equipped, in order for that whole process to work. But it's intuitive. I don't have to think about it. So I look back at one of my clips, like a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, how did I just push through 3 enemies like this? And I realized that restoration got procced. Not only did restoration get procced once, but I ended up killing a second one, with my shotgun, and I think it might have procced twice.
You'll
And it ended up
extend it
pushing
with that.
through, and I immediately went into a hand cannon fight that I thought I was going to lose, or at least trade on, and I didn't, because restoration was still helping me out with getting my recovery back, with getting my health and my shields back or whatnot. So, there doesn't necessarily have to be like an explanation for all these new mechanics if it kind of benefits us in the gameplay style that we're already, that we're already playing, right? Everybody's trying to push into that second, that third in order to get that hero moment. And so if you do that and you take that risk, then there should be some benefit if you equip, a few things, 2 or 3 things. I think that's really nice. So I think that's something that has been included in Void 3.0, Solar 3.0, some aspect of it. And we don't need explanations for that. It's just intuitive.
Travis.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reason I've been quiet this whole time is just because I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, and you guys are kind of spitting facts. Like, I think one of the things a lot of Destiny players forget is how complicated the game is because they live in the bubble of Destiny and it all makes
Yes.
sense to them. And they learned it gradually over the course of 7 years and all that stuff. But all you have to do is talk to somebody for 5 minutes who hasn't played the game, which typically when I do the Destiny reviews, I'll just bring in like whatever friends are around me. I'll be like, oh, you guys free this Saturday? Let's get through the Witch Queen campaign together. I need to, record footage for the review or whatever. And when you bring a new person into the game, it is really a surreal experience. And I think, some places they probably could use a tutorial or at least a page where they could explain some things. Some areas they could stand to just make those systems more intuitive in some way, but they can't have what they have now, which is like the remnants of 7 years of systems that have been made and unmade and tweaked and retweaked to the point where they are almost impossible to navigate for the average player. And I think part of it is probably, do you put all your development time into building out a system like that to explain the game to other players when the natural solution is that their friends just tell them how to do it, right? Because I don't think Bungie is designing Destiny to be a solo player's game. And I think that the fact that they don't have a tutorial or systems in game to explain a lot of these things kind of tells you what they think about it, right? Because if they built those in, they'd be like, yeah, this is a solo game you learn to play on your own, but they don't feel that they need that because they have this free workforce of other Destiny players that are training the next generation of Guardians how to play the game for them. And so I think that it really comes down to that, and I hope that they'll reconsider that because it is sure hard to grow the Destiny community when it's so hard to get your foot in the door. And I do think it's one of the areas they may need to. And I know I've talked to you guys about this on the show like 50 times because I talk about it every time I review Destiny content. Is like, dude, playing this game as an outsider looking in, I try to write reviews for the average person, right? Not necessarily just talking to the bubble of devout Destiny players. And when you look at Destiny from that way, there's a lot to be desired. A lot of that, I think, is story because we just got done talking about it. But the content vault has ravaged the Destiny story, which makes it difficult. But we'll see if they make any changes to it. Everything about the way they have their business model built right now tells me that this is not a priority.
I mean,
go ahead. No, you're good.
And that's a shame. That's a shame. It really is because it coming specifically from a PvP standpoint, it has to be. Like you talk about ravage, and our population is just getting ravaged every single day.
Talk about it.
And you said it as well. The game is, and it's always been like this. What did the CM say? They said, the real reward or something like that. Real reward from playing this game are the friendships, right?
Friend game,
and I don't want to make fun of that because I 100% believe that and 100% feel that in this game. But they truly, if they're going the course that they're going, they need to continue to just if they go in this direction, they got to double down. They got to double down on the friendships. They got to double down on the fire teams, building fire teams, and finding folks to play with, and making it very easy to find folks to play with. So that they'll have guides that new lights and folks that are newer, the average player coming back, whatever else, will have guides that will they'll help them catch up. They'll help them catch up to a lot of the new systems and changes that happen every time folks take a break and then come back.
No, absolutely. And the one thing I'm actually give some props to Halo Infinite, because one thing that I would love them to do is, as a person who's not the greatest Halo player, and I love Halo, but I'm very
You can say that again.
average to below average. That's just how it is, right? And it could be daunting when you're getting outmaneuvered and you're really getting fragged a lot. So that bot mode got my confidence up. Like it got I got a chance, because especially with Halo, which is arena based, and it's like, okay, I finally got the shotgun. It's here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I finally got this weapon. It's here on the map. And I know Destiny doesn't play exactly like that, but there is something to say about gaining confidence with a weapon, learning how it shoots, learning the reaction, the distances, where it's effective, right? And then you start as a new guy. Okay, there's a sensation mentally when you kill someone as a new player that you're like, okay, I can hang.
Isn't that what PvE is for, though?
True for PvE, but for PvP, when you get obliterated in seconds and you really don't know what happened except on the screen, the gun that killed you.
That's what you get for stepping in the arena with gladiators like me. I mean,
here we go.
Stay on your own playlist, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Can I watch the 1v1 between Travis and Physics, please?
Let's do it.
Really?
It's going down. Hunters versus Titans.
You really? Do we really want that? Is that the content that we really want? I mean,
it's just gonna be Physics ringing up like a scoreboard, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Listen, man, I would like to see.
I'm gonna just try to skip over that. Act like I didn't. I didn't hear that. So what I will say is there's something to be said for I like that kind of a bot mode where folks build confidence. Folks can. It's tough. It's tough for anybody.
And then we can crush their dreams, when they get into the real playlist.
Listen, you stay. Let the kiddie pool stay in the kiddie pool. You go over there.
I'm just saying, if folks want to stay in the kiddie pool till they get that confidence, it's tough. It's tough for even me. If I decide, hey, I want to pick up a fighting lion and I want to get good with it, you know what I'm saying? Step back into my lobbies, and then try to get good with it there. It's gonna be miserable. That's why a lot of folks don't hop into the general Crucible, casual playlist or not, quick play or not, and try to pick up and use something different than what they're used to. It's tough to play off meta, but it's even tougher when you gotta learn the off meta in this meta, So I like the concept of a bot mode, even for somebody like me, just to hop in there on the maps like that's the difference between PvE and PvP as well. Like trying to get good in PvE for PvP, there's only so much that you can really gain there,
Yeah.
shooting against Fallen and Dregs and stuff like that. I'd like to actually get on the maps in the actual modes, and learn something there, get some shots off there, learn my build there, figure out what works and what doesn't work, what maybe works best in the air and what doesn't work best in there. That would definitely be something that would help me build my confidence, but certainly someone that is, a little bit newer to the game, or maybe a little more average at the game as far as experience level, to get a little more
Not to
confidence
make
to actually
every
bring that into
topic,
quick play.
not to make every topic relate to my personal pet project, but you know what else might help people get their toe in
Talk
the
that
water?
talk.
No, here we go.
I
Is if
saved
they
I saved it for you.
if they added some sort of skill-based ranked matchmaking playlist, maybe where people could play with their own skill levels in some way, and then steadily
Interesting.
increase and unlock rewards every season based on the rank that they attain, like every other PvP game does. Damn it.
I'm hoping we see something in season 19.
Hopefully we
man.
see that in Lightfall. Hopefully we see that revamped comp that's been rumored so heavily. So they've gotten a lot of feedback on it.
Because they're listening to
That's
me
the
every
same thing
week.
we heard about season 19, where they're doing something with the survival
Wait,
playlist.
what?
We've talked about this. We've talked about this. We have literally talked about this.
Oh, re-educate and re-talk.
Season 19, survival's getting some kind of rework. That's literally all we know. But that's
survival. Okay.
Survival is comp. Survival is the comp.
We put in the comp and okay. I like that.
Shout out to my other YouTube channel.
Hey, there we go. They're here.
Oh yeah, they're back. They're excited about comp.
Sorry guys, I still can't afford ads, so that's the best I can do. I'm just gonna post some comments here.
Shout out to Buddha being messy. I see you, bro.
Yeah, you see him. He's trying to start something,
Yeah,
man.
he got a
Buddha's
pocket. He got a pocket. Look, man, I want comp needs to be that. Trials
comp needs to be a ranked playlist. Period.
They've already established what trials is going to be. So just give us our damn freelance and just be what it. Is what it is.
Yeah, and folks, the one of the best pieces of feedback that I've received in the last several months from multiple people, so it's been corroborated by multiple people, is I got better. The number one place that I got better was in comp.
It did, yeah.
The number one place that I got better was in comp. It wasn't in trials. It wasn't in quick play. It wasn't in any other playlist. It wasn't in elim. It was in comp. That was the number one place that I saw the biggest improvement for myself as far as my gameplay, where I was able to really hone my style, my weapons, my build, and see, like I said, discernible improvement. So I feel like comp is truly, for so many reasons, I could talk about this forever. For so many reasons, I feel like comp is the key to PvP, not just because of what I just said, but also dragging folks like me off of casual playlists.
Preach it.
Get me.
Then you don't need a bot mode.
And they don't even give you a pinnacle for that. That's the sad part.
I'm just saying, then you don't need one if you implement something.
Get people like me that have years and years of experience, that are improvement focused. Keep me entertained in comp, and you won't have that level of that degree of sweatiness, in a casual playlist such as quick play. You won't get people in there quite as much farming and things like that. And you recognize that. Check this. You recognize that whenever Trials is active or whenever Iron Banner is active, because you get all the sweaty folks go over to those playlists, and then quick play is much more casual, much more as it's intended when those things are active. So yeah, definitely. Comp is the key, in my opinion.
And the only thing I say, because I love everything y'all preaching, just give me some nice little rewards while I'm in comp. Because Cog likes the rewards. Cog likes to sweat. I want to look nice.
Supposed to.
Most definitely.
I mean, that's part of a ranked tiered playlist.
Some reason to work your.
You get to bronze, you unlock the bronze rewards at the end of the season, so on and so forth, and then there's something at the platinum or whatever they end up calling the highest tier that all the sweat lords push for. And honestly, my fall from playing as much Crucible as I used to is largely based on how much they used to incentivize you versus how much they don't now to do it. And it's not even the incentive of oh, Travis, you need a reward, you need a trophy to feel like you did something. It's really just the incentive of getting to play against higher skilled people. Because now you can grind the survival playlist as much as you want. You're going to be playing against the same random hodgepodge of of loosely thrown together people, and that's not a very fun experience. Is rolling the dice every time you enter the matchmaking lobby. There should be skill based matchmaking. There just should. That way I
Well, I
can play
mean,
with my peers and get better. Iron sharpens iron, man. You don't get any better playing against random people with random squads and yada yada. It's just not fun.
yeah, yeah. Well, and keep in mind just to just to clean that up. Of course, there is skill-based matchmaking in comp, but it's not to the degree that Travis is talking about. It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
to that point, most definitely. And
The
my
rank
experience,
system.
I've been playing actually a lot of 5500 comp where I just sit at 55 until I lose a game because I'm not infallible, of course. And
happens.
you're right. Like I play random games against folks that are a variety of comp ranks, and then I'll play maybe a few games here and there against folks that are 55 or right around 55 or something like that. And I'll keep saying it again, the sandbox is rarely in a good state where the games that I play at 5500 level are against opponents where everybody is trying to display actual skill as opposed to folks who are just trying to win the game.
Right.
So it's just like
when you say there's
there's a
skill
difference.
based matchmaking and survival, you're talking about the rank. It's rank based, right? Like people who are
No, it's
in
actual skill.
legend,
It's
they go
actual
against
skill based.
legend.
When I start out at zero rank, I'm generally going to be facing folks that are within my skill range, my combat rating. However, they do the MMR. They switched that up a while back.
Okay.
Really?
Right.
I was talking to somebody who seems to know a lot about this recently, and he seems to think that it actually has more to do with your playtime than actual skill. And so
It
if you
might
have
be.
like
Wouldn't be
if you have an
surprised.
abnormal amount of playtime, then you get matched up against people who are at like the highest skill level and have a similar amount of playtime, even if you're not better of a player, which I wouldn't describe as skill based. I would
I would
describe
agree
that
with that.
as
Well, I
No.
mean,
yeah,
we could go back and talk about what what skill-based matchmaking is to Destiny, right? Because lobby balancing, wasn't skill-based matchmaking, not the way that they, came onto it. It was very, very
it's a snake
lawyerese the way
draft.
that they,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So I'm not sure how they end up dictating what the skill is for comp. It very well could be experience, which obviously is not a one-to-one with actual skill. But nonetheless, I would love to see exactly what you're talking about, a real ranked playlist, one that incentivizes newer folks to get better and helps them actually get better without being too oppressive, too off-putting, and a playlist at the same time holds interest for folks like me who are have years and years of experience and keeps me as much as possible out of the casual playlist unless I truly want to play casually, pick up something that I
Absolutely.
don't usually pick up and just have fun. And I've said
Mhm.
this a bunch. I just like I wish like a lot of folks love the mayhem, the chaos of sixes and all
Yeah.
these very, very fun elements, just rocking there. Like don't nerf anything, just have it year one, D1, and everything's OP and that sort of thing. I'm not I'm obviously making a hyperbole a little bit with that, but my point is just restrict some stuff in trials, restrict some stuff in comp, and let casual play, quick play just be as silly as it wants to be, you know? Because a lot of people really love that pure space magic, silly casual,
Yeah, over the top.
quick play experience. And then there's other people, of course, like me that like a more rewarding,
Mhm.
engagement experience, something a little more balanced. So I don't know. It's a challenge either way for Bungie. I'm not going to say that's something that's an
Oh
easy
yeah,
formula,
for sure,
but yeah, I
for sure.
do truly believe that comp is the answer for a lot of
Yeah,
this stuff.
I agree. I think they're sitting on it, and you guys are excited me. I didn't somehow I missed that what he had talked about it was a season 19 you said, and
Season 19, there's supposed to be
yeah,
something. I can't remember
something.
exactly when it was mentioned. I'm pretty sure it was a
Mhm.
12 or something they mentioned. But yeah, 19 is when some kind of survival comp, something's
Yeah,
going to happen to that. That's all we know. So it's like that's when it's like we can cross our fingers. We might see something along those lines. I would imagine that would be very, very well received.
mhm.
Um, I do hope if they are going to do something like that, they use the Crucible Labs playlist during part of 18 to work out a few of the kinks.
That'd be
Because every
fantastic.
so often,
Yes.
when we get something like Rift and be like, hey, some stuff's busted, how about we try some of these things before they launch? Now, granted, I know some of them could be coming in hot, but if you're rebuilding a system, use labs and be like, full beta phase. I don't care what flag you have to throw on there. Let us see how it ranks out. Just even for a little while, just to get a feel for the system before it's like, here's the launch, and then you might get a patch 6 weeks later to fix some of it. That
And
I
that
would love
speaks
to see them use.
again to my what I was talking about with regards to expectations. Because the thing is, if you do that, it's Crucible Labs, it's a beta, everybody knows it is. Then everybody comes in and nobody expects it to work in a rewarding sense. Everybody expects there to be some chaos with it. Everybody expects it to be kind of messed up here or there. And everybody is willing to give that feedback, whether it ends up being some complaints or whether it ends up being actionable feedbacks, So it just speaks to, I just feel like a lot of our strife in the PvP community is, and just in the community at large, but the PvP community is due to just expectations and managing those. I feel like if Bungie can do a better job of that and give us arenas where that can be tested, where they can clearly outline what your expectations should be, and then I feel like we'd be better off. People would be able to temper those downsides a lot more easily. The biggest thing with AE, remember, the biggest thing with AE that people beef with is not how AE really dropped. It's how they set the expectations prior to it dropping. That was the biggest problem with AE, period.
Well, speaking of airborne effectiveness, we got a little bit of a change with regards to the TWAB. This will be coming up in, I don't know if they state when. I would expect these changes to shift the PvP meta for a month or so before Season 18 launch. So this will be kind of like a mid-season, maybe the Solstice update. I don't think it's dated right now. But they basically say airborne effectiveness, they're going to improve the baseline airborne accuracy for aim assist for all primary weapons. They're going to add a static airborne effectiveness buff to some existing perks and raise the base airborne effectiveness stat for several exotic weapons. They're going to tune some primary weapon subfamilies, shotgun PvE damage, stuff like that. So, I mean, big things, if you want to go through and read all the minutia, you can see that, they reduced the airborne effectiveness penalty for low airborne effectiveness stat by about 20 to 40%. The higher you are, they still lower some of that down. They reduce the aim assist penalties for the certain weapon types, depending on your input method, depending on if it's aim assist or if you're talking about bullet bending or reticle stickiness. Also, things like air assault is now plus 10 all the time, as opposed to its weird low health thing that's plus 60. Extended mag, they had to give people a reason to try and use that one. That's plus 10. Steady rounds is 7. Hand cannons, I did want to I'll kind of go through a couple of these and see. Hand cannons, 180s, body shot damage is going from 37 to 40. Crit goes from 57 to 60. Can now kill in 2 crit, 2 body. Auto rifles, so 4 50s have fallen behind. The body shot's going to go from 19 to 20. Precision damage multiplier moves to basically keep that the same. Scout rifles, you've got precision, which are 180, and high impact 150s. Precisions go from body damage getting a boost from 34 to 38, and then crits going from 54 to 60.8. High impact scouts go from body damage from 38 to 42, and crit moves from 66 to 73. Basically 2 crit, 1 body against 189, which no one runs that anymore. Shotguns do get a boost in PvE. They increase the pellet shotgun damage bonus from 10% to 25%, so it's getting an additional 15%. Linear fusions for PvE are not going to get flinched like crazy. I don't know if you guys have used those in PvE, but man, there are sometimes it hits way too hard. I understand PvE, they were trying to tame them back, or PvP, but PvE, you would feel it. Glaives, they're fixing special ammo bricks for Glaives, Ariana's Vow, Foe Tracer, not Foe Tracer,
Forerunner.
Thank you.
Forerunner. Yes.
Yeah, so they were not getting enough special ammo brick to be functional if you picked up a brick, so now they just made them actually work correctly. Exotics, Lawrence Driver, aim assist has been reduced and knocked down. Also reduced the suction against players when you get that one. Yeah, that one's been asked for a very long time. Gallahorn, primary rocket no longer has proximity detonation, so you will have the actual, basically the direct impact. Then you're going to have the explosion, and then also the Wolfpack rounds now do half damage to players, so if you're trying to run away, it's not probably going to insta-kill you. Biggest thing of all that probably went through Twitter was Last Word reduced precision fire or hip fire precision aim angle by 50%. Precision aim angle dictates how far off the head you can be aimed and still have aim assist grant you a critical head instead of a body. Reduce the damage and aim assist fall off by 3 meters as well. That's probably the biggest one taking a shot. And it was specifically for controller. more.
controller gang was we was
We're
eating a
going
little bit.
heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
y'all were
was
definitely eating.
we was
I
doing
didn't
too
necessarily
much.
have a problem with it, but man, y'all were eating good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Y'all were
we
eating
were
good.
terrorizing. We
And
had
then
a good
everything
run.
else is mostly the
We
special
had a good
ammo.
run.
Special ammo and then exotics kind of get certain Suros getting a buff for airborne effectiveness. Whisper of the Worm is just an odd one to me. If somebody uses that in PvP, I would love to see them do it.
It's a
Monte
clip. It's a
Carlo.
clip.
Yeah, it's for a clip. Yeah, exactly. Monte Carlo, 21 to 29. Forerunner, 22 to 27. That's basically the main changes coming. Any big highlights from you? Physics first, anything with the airborne effectiveness or the archetypes like hand cannons, auto scouts, anything kind of shouting out to you as,
Yeah,
big
definitely
changes,
some
W's, L's?
standouts. Yeah, some standouts. Last word definitely taking an L there. I mean, they had their time in the sun. I
Yeah.
Mhm.
honestly didn't have too much of an issue with it, just because M&K has their weapons.
Yeah.
DMT being the one that
Woo!
comes to mind first and foremost.
Mm.
So I didn't mind. I didn't mind last word really being strong, and we all knew that it was eventually going to get nerfed. So I'm glad that folks had their time in the sun. I'm also a big last word fan from D1. Last word snipe from D1. So that's another reason why, I wasn't really too heavy about like knocking it anytime soon. So
Mhm.
it's about time, but it's cool. It's cool. I didn't really have too much of an issue with it when it was making its run. Forerunner is the one that stuck out to me when I read this
Ooh.
entire document. Forerunner stuck out to me. Why? Because Forerunner is already a monster. It's kind of a sleeper. It's a
Mm.
sidearm,
Mhm.
also, which can be run with Mechaneer's trick sleeves,
Yes.
which gets all the benefits of just being a sidearm in general. Sidearms have been strong for a very long time. It's just people, I
Yes.
guess, prefer,
People
myself
sleeping.
included,
Mhm.
prefer shotguns or whatnot, but they've been strong for a very long time. There's a lot of synergy between a bunch of different exotics and builds with sidearms. Um, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how those builds continue to flush out as sidearms continue to creep its way into the meta. But Forerunner is very strong, and the fact that like it doesn't seem like a lot, the fact that they're getting one more bullet per brick, but it kind of is. It just adds to the forgiveness of the weapon to get more and more people onto it. But the other thing that really stood out to me was that Forerunner as well was getting a buff from 22 airborne effectiveness to 27. You know, and with the increasing ability, as we're going to see coming into diving into the next season, of the ability to build into more and more airborne effectiveness, you could see Forerunner people getting in the air a lot more with Forerunner making those plays. That thing hits hard. It hits hard. I always remember back to my buddy Lunars. One of the reasons why whenever I see Lunars in quick play and I'm on the opposite team, I very, very quickly consider backing out.
It's like
One
that.
time, Lou is just a monster with whatever he picks up. He slid a corner. I came into a game, didn't know he was in there.
Didn't know
Endless
you did.
Veil. This is the story I always tell. Endless Veil. I go up to the mid. The game's already in progress. I go up to mid, and I didn't realize also why people were backing out of this game, that I would get loaded into it. Okay, so I get loaded in again into a game in progress onto the opposite team from Lou. I immediately go to Endless Veil. I immediately slide up to the middle lane. Everybody knows that middle lane on Endless Veil. Lou immediately slides that, three taps me before runner. My finger automatically goes to the orbit button. And I'm out of that game. I'm out of that game before I even respawn. Forerunner is 100% slept on. The
Mm.
synergy between Forerunner and Mechaneer's trick sleeves and a couple of other mechanics in the game, 100% slept on. They're making it more forgiving with regards to the ammo, and they're giving you some additional forgiveness in the air as well. Forerunner is a sleeper. Is a sleeper for sure. That was the first thing that stuck out to me. Galahorn, obviously, I think that's
Obviously, yeah.
obviously a pretty substantial nerf. But probably deserved it simply because it was the number one pick in
Yeah,
PvP
PvP.
for a heavy. It was just a no-brainer. Hey, you got the
No-brainer.
galley? Okay, you pick it up.
Mhm.
Is what it
Mhm.
is. And galley's been on top for like a while. Love the exotic, but it's time for a change up. Lawrence Driver can die in a ditch.
Yeah, I
I just need that to go. The other one
Agreed,
that's
dude. That
yeah,
is the
that
most
thing.
annoying weapon in Trials I've
That is
ever
the
seen.
most unrewarding weapon to go against in the game, and has been for 9 months. I had a tweet a while back where I was just like, "What did I say? Something got fixed." Oh, it was right when Witch Queen dropped. I said something along the line of, "Wow, Laura after what, like a week,
Yeah.
got switched up." But
Yeah.
Lawrence Driver has been
Mhm.
terrorizing like for
Terrorizing.
months,
He, you,
6, 7 months.
You know
You
what's
know?
good in a game mode that's all about working together? A weapon that punishes you for working together. Because if one of you gets
Talk to
hit,
him.
you all die. That's a
Yeah.
Talk to
great
him.
idea
Talk
for
to
a
him. Think
sandbox.
about
Speaking of
think about
which,
if
whew,
think about if Cloud Strike was better
I was,
represented in the meta.
Exactly.
bro, I'm gonna
It'd be
tell
the
you,
same sort of
But
thing.
here's the thing,
Cool
Cloud
guy is the
Strike actually
terrorizer with
takes
that
a
one.
little bit of Cloud Strike takes a lot more
It does.
skill
You
than
actually got to hit.
Lawrence
You
does.
actually got to hit that
yeah,
shot. Obviously, the hitboxes aren't as big. You actually do have to
yeah,
hit that shot. And
bro.
there is something to be said. People are just like, man, why are we nerfing and buffing things based on usage? And it's just like, yeah, we shouldn't talk about usage all the time. But I've said it a billion times, and I'm sure other people have as well. It's not a unique idea. It's just like I want folks to have fun. Ease of use isn't everything when it comes to talking about like nerfing and buffing things. Usage rates and how often I see that, and how often that, you know, me trying to like slide out on a Cloud Strike and my entire team gets deleted. If that doesn't happen too often, then
Yeah.
like it's a clip. It's a clip.
Mhm.
And if it's a clip and I don't see it too often, have fun with it. Have fun with
Right.
it. Lorenz just happened all the time, man. And it's just one of the most, if not the most, unrewarding thing to play against for the last like better part of the year. So anyway, in a ditch, precision hand
Just so you know,
cannons.
everything that you're saying right now is ensuring that COG is going to start using Lawrence Driver.
Oh, stop! I never
Because you
did that.
just
He's going to
you're
use
giving
it
you're
before
giving
it gets nerfed.
you're giving him
Yeah.
the keys to the cheese car. This is now that he can't use his Laura Wolves.
Oh, is
Nah.
that one too much for you? The
Listen,
Lord,
I
Yeah.
was wearing Lord of Wolves before anybody knew it
that's
was a
fair. Somebody
thing.
else in chat said that. That's true.
Bro,
That's true.
I got history. This before it was meta. People were sleeping on it. Now I was telling people, I'm like, yo, it's a beast because it doesn't operate like a typical shotgun. But
Yeah.
Travis, you gotta give me a little credit. You know I always go against the grain. Like I'm the guy that I will try to
Who
find
literally started the podcast saying, "Hey, no time to explain." And I saw that debate on Twitter this week. I was like,
Listen,
"Wait a minute, hold on." This is the
I had
anti-meta
to
guy
go
being
no,
like,
but
"How
I
meta
can't,
can I
do my
be?"
investigation. You know what I'm saying? To see.
My
Hold on,
investigation.
let me see
Oh
how the
no.
meta feels.
Investigation.
Oh, the meta feels pretty good. This
I
feels
was like,
nice.
oh, this
the
is
water
what's
feels
happening.
fine over here. It's
Yeah.
a little cheesy.
Oh man.
Give me a
Yeah.
little credit. I usually go against the grain. I'm usually the guy that's picking up the sidearms and picking up the SMGs. I've never really been a shotgun ape. I've never been what everyone is using. I always try to find something in the cut that's solid that most people are not using. But it's funny you said that with this whole meta going on. I'm not gonna lie though, the thing that excites me, 180s. Because right now,
That's
like,
what I was about to say. Yep.
bro,
Those are
180s,
one
I
of the
don't
last two
find,
things.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. 180 is an archetype I don't use in any game mode.
No.
I don't use it in PvE because it doesn't to me hit hard enough.
Nope.
And then PvP, I'm like, I feel like I'm just tickling people with this thing. And I'm just
Mm,
like,
mm.
nah, man. So 180s needed it. And I'm sitting on some really solid rolls of 180s that I've had for a while. And I would love to see 180s have, have we ever had a 180 meta?
Yeah, of course. Not forgotten. What you mean?
Oh, I never had
Not forgotten
it.
180
What
or
you
Oh,
mean?
was it
yeah.
180 or
What you mean?
150
Oh
or
yeah.
I never had 180. I never
Nah,
had
nah.
that.
180. It was the strongest and most represented 180s. Like not forgotten by far. Luna's Howl, obviously by
Mhm.
extension. And Trust with explosive payload.
Trust
Those
was,
two right
yeah, you're
there.
right. Trust had
They
a
went
run.
heavy.
Trust?
They went
Trust had a
heavy.
run.
Most
See, I
definitely.
hate like everybody's like, "Oh, the trust man." I'm like, I pick up trust and I'm like, this feels like ass to me. Like
Yeah.
180s have felt terrible for a long time. And again, that's just me as a user. It's
Are
like
you
it
on
never
controller
felt
or are you
right.
on M&K?
M&K.
Yeah, but that's M&K. It's
Yeah.
180s are their controller weapons. They definitely gravitate. They definitely cater more
Very
towards
stable.
controllers. You know, so yeah. What just like you said, the other two things that stuck out to me was the fact that obviously airborne effectiveness is getting buffed across the board for the most part, but precision hand cannons 180s becoming more forgiving. I think that a lot of us have been talking about the fact that look, if we want folks to primary more, we have to look at specifically making certain primaries more more forgiving to use.
Mhm.
That's how you're going to get some more folks on them. So 180s, I feel like they did a great job in this particular buff for 180s, and hopefully we will see more 180s being represented in the meta because of it. High impact. I'm sorry. Which one was it? It was
impact?
180 scouts.
Precision
Yeah.
scouts.
I'm
Scouts,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What? Yeah. Is that high impact scouts?
High impact is 150.
Oh no,
Just
precision
precision
scouts.
is
Yes,
180.
precision scouts were the ones that stood out to me for sure. The fact that you're getting increased body damage from 34 to 38, increased crit from 54.4 to 60.8. That's chunky. That's
Mhm.
chunky.
Yeah, they're gonna do some damage. I'm trying to look at what I got in the cut. I'm in the
Yeah.
vault.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. Oh, stop.
Gotta see what I gotta go to pull out on these boys
So,
right quick.
so that was another one that was the last one that really like heavily stood out to me. So if you got a 180 precision scout after this update, I would heavily
Mhm.
consider bringing that out, especially if you're a big lover of scout rifles for sure. Those
I
things are
like
going to
scouts.
hit very hard, become increasingly forgiving with this update. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that's most of what's in the TWAB. That's basically a little preview of the sandbox changes, and most everything else is just, known issues and still light on the TWAB. We do have Grandmasters starting next week. Iron Banner is the week after. So those are
Mhm.
kind of the preview of what's coming ahead.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
looking forward to, DFA coming back, Adept, and actually, I will actually farm that, see what I like about it. Obviously, the perk pool for it isn't as stacked as, for PvP as some of these other, like in-game hand cannons, but
yeah.
that'll be interesting. I'll definitely be in there to try to get a nice roll on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. About to dust off that vision of confluence. Sorry, continue.
He's literally in his dim right
I'm in my
now.
Yeah,
dim
He's
yeah,
right
he's
literally
now,
in his
straight up.
yo. I'm
dim right
Yeah,
now.
he's totally
steaming.
focused on the
Wow,
podcast. No,
wow.
he's in
Yo,
dim
Not
at this
on the
moment.
podcast at all. Just all
yo,
about the dim. I got
I
you.
get excited. This is when the vault is to my advantage. I'm like, oh, that's a good roll.
Yeah.
You're not better right now, but I know one day, but we gonna come back to you. We gonna dust that off, take that for a spin. I'm ready.
Oh boy.
I'm ready.
Oh boy. I'm trying
Especially
to stay out of
180s
your
though.
lobbies, yo.
Yeah, especially when I really feel 180s, man. They needed it for the
Yeah,
moment.
a
That's
lot of
good to see.
people love 180s. They're not my favorite at all.
Me neither.
But I'm happy to see, a weapon that a lot of people have a lot of love for get some, get some help in the forgiveness department, so we see some better representation.
I
Absolutely.
thought there was a reason they
Contrary to a
debuffed
lot of
those.
people think,
Yeah.
look, I don't always want it to be a 140 shotgun meta, people.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Man, I tell you, I
They
can't
be
even
coming for
talk
you.
on Twitter. I cannot even say anything on Twitter without some gem coming through telling me that, making assumptions based on the hand cannon and the shotgun that I use. Like, bro, I want some diversity. I do not care whether it's a hand cannon shotgun meta. I just want the weapons that I love to be effective, in its intended ranges and as it was
Yes,
intended. Sorry to cut you
absolutely.
off, Travis.
No, it's all good.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say I'm a defender of 180s. So, yeah.
Oh,
Hey, then
But
I'm
yeah, I
right there
mean,
with you
those
then.
were hand cannons. Always felt the best in the
Mhm.
180 meta
I
back in the
didn't know he
day.
was
So,
a 180. Okay.
yeah, dude, who didn't use Not Forgotten? That was the weapon for so long, like a
If I would have
year.
acquired it.
Yeah.
See,
And
I
well, and then
accepted it. I would've
Physics got
acquired it.
Hawkmoon, and he's like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
back."
I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm telling people, Hawkmoon keeps me playing the game. You want me to keep
Mm.
playing the game? Just keep Hawkmoon exactly how it is, and make sure that
Oh.
it doesn't become. I don't want Hawkmoon to become meta. Then if it becomes meta, it's just at
Ooh.
some point I just want to use something
Do you
else.
have a
But
gambling
I dig
addiction, Bill?
it.
So you like
There's no
Hawkmoon?
gamble with my hand cannon shot, boy. I'm
No,
telling you,
okay.
no gamble.
All
I'm
right.
gonna definitely hit that 6-7, and then somebody's getting tapped.
Okay.
Oh, good
This is
stuff.
why if I see him in a lobby, I turn around and walk out that door.
Back out.
I was like, we shouldn't be matched together, and if we are, that's not going to be a fun day for me.
Somebody's getting tapped. That's the
Right
only
here.
one I'll get kind of ego about.
Shout out, shout out.
Well, that pretty much covers what we've got going for the week. But I wanted to ask you guys, as we get to season 7, we know it was going to be likely the final quest step. The big question is, what is going to keep you guys going until season 18? Between the quest kind of wrapping up, we know I got GMs. I mean, he said, farm and DFA might be a thing in there. How much do you guys see yourself sticking with this season? I've heard some people saying this season might be a little lighter and stuff. We've kind of talked about activities versus crafting grind and stuff like that. How much do you see your guys, playtime in Destiny? Do you see it tapering, steady, increasing? Where are you guys at for, upcoming 6-7 weeks till we get 18?
I'll go first. I see my playtime going up insanely as of next Tuesday when Iron Banner opens, because I still need to get that done because I wasn't available
Well, that's
last
July
week. It was
12th, so you
around.
got two resets.
Oh god damn! I thought it was one. All right.
Next
Listen,
week
the
is
dip
GMs and the
is
quests. Then
gonna be
it's
rough.
Iron Banner. So after Iron Banner, what you got left?
That's it, man. I mean,
We
I'll
grind.
still do duality. I'll do duality every week until I get the sword. I still don't have it.
Chinese
But
storm chaser, yeah.
other than that, I'm interested to see. There's not really a lot to chase right now. I mean, I don't really have as much time to play Destiny as I did back in the day anyway, but I do want to get back into it. I would like to get, my Crucible skills are undoubtedly rusty. I just haven't had as much time to get as sweaty as I like to get. So, but yeah, I suspect it'll go up in 2 weeks when Iron Banner goes on, and then probably down a whole lot. Actually, no, it's probably best that it's the week after next week, because next week I'll have to do all the story stuff, and then it'll be done, and then Iron Banner will show up just in time for there to be nothing to do in Destiny's PvE. So
You got
not the worst in the
Solstice of
world.
Hero or Solstice now coming up the week after Iron Banner.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Anybody still need to do duality this week? What's up?
Actually, I do. What? You doing it right after?
Unless I end up waiting for you for 2 hours.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Here we
You
go.
ditch me leave me at the altar for
You got
the.
you got the Teddy, the teasing one?
I haven't talked to him, but yeah, he's probably down. Anyway,
Yeah.
What about you,
it's just,
Cog?
I'm sorry. Yeah, for me, it's just I can't get incandescent on the damn Mighty Multi-Tool. It's
Craft
getting on
it.
my damn nerves. I got 4, and I'm like, come on, give me the red port already.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I'm
you
saying?
could just pick up the last red border from
Yeah, go get
from
your
the
guarantee
crown.
that's what I
from.
was gonna say.
If you
Yeah.
got
What?
4, like
You got 4. Go
well,
get your
there's
guarantee
that
from the
Get the
crown.
there's
perk
that
from the
perk.
mask.
Yeah,
The mask offers a perk
like
where
5th.
you get
Yeah,
a
I got it
guarantee.
already. That's how I got the 4.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds
Next
like
Sorry,
you
guys.
next
haven't
week, you
invested
got to
enough
wait till
time.
next
Yeah.
week at the
It
mask.
sounds like it sounds like you're real entitled right now. I feel like you'd have. I'm saying it. I feel like you'd
Look,
have, if you've had that perk unlocked for a bit, I feel like you'd have 5 by
listen.
now if you actually put some time into the
Woo!
activity.
Oh,
He
oh.
coming.
Called out.
He coming.
Called
Here's the thing.
out.
I got
Ooh.
Just saying.
Drain.
You got to put down
broke.
that Demio and play you some Destiny
Nah,
before you
listen,
start
I'll play
complaining about
Destiny.
these drops.
Sir, you don't have the Iron Lord title.
Yeah?
Okay then. So I put in
This
some
is
time now. I
this
put
is
in some
turning
time.
into something.
We
This is
ain't
turning into
gonna do
something.
this. Now listen, I have just been unlucky with that damn roll. That's just what it is. I want to have fun with ignitions. I want to do what other people are doing. So I need that, and then I need Storm Chaser that badly.
At least
I
it'd be
need
a
that.
fair
That thing
fight,
is so
Travis.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I need Storm Chaser. So I got to do the duality joint, and a better roll probably with the Trials
Sidearm?
kinetic fusion. I
Kinetic
yeah, I
fusion.
didn't even get that. I didn't even
Yeah.
get that yet. That has not dropped. So there's like little odds and ends, just little odds and ends that
Yeah.
cleanup
Yeah.
that I gotta get.
Yeah.
And then from there I'll probably just wind down. I hear Outriders is doing something me. Might see what's going on with that. And shout out to Travis with his amazing review, which I watched in its entirety. It was really good. Yeah, there's a couple of holes in my game that I just gotta get cleaned up. Physics. And then once I do that, you're gonna throw that damn casual title on me, boy. You ain't gonna
Ooh, hey,
you
ooh,
ain't doing
hey,
that.
ooh.
Fight.
Damn, he threw me all the way in the bushes. I was like,
They did. Oh my god,
Next
that
time
was
I'm on, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like I'm 1v1 and everybody. That's what it
yeah.
sounds like.
I
We
wanna
get
see
into a
that
rumble
Travis
lobby.
1v1 to
We
be
get into a
honest.
rumble
Oh
lobby.
no, here we go. This actually should be
That's what I wanna
would
see.
be fun. Me
Yeah,
and
for all this.
Physics versus you two.
Oh yeah.
You get fit.
Because I'm the schlub who has an
Oh, you
entire
the schlub.
podcast segment made
No,
about
he's
me.
right. Cog, he's right. He would just bring down our KD and give him extra
Oh,
points. I think we're better without him.
This-
Let's
I feel like some stuff needs to work out between y'all.
We
I
gotta
feel
work
like
it
some stuff. Y'all got some stuff to work
Be like
out.
campfire
look,
campfire
if you
therapy
need- if-
session.
I'm not a
if
therapist.
you
or
need to
anything,
solo a
but,
dungeon, E is your guy. Okay, that's all I gotta say on that one.
You're not wrong, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I
so
said lowest common denominator when it comes to PvP skill. I'm the one who has a segment about me, so I get paired with the Hawk Moon Beast Mode, and then we
I
got
don't think I'd bring out the Hawk Moon for that. I don't think I'd.
Oh, that
y'all
wouldn't
not-
No,
be
that'd
fair?
be perfect. So then
Yeah.
Cog and I win by just targeting E. That's how we win. We target E. We avoid ill as often
Yep.
as possible.
That's it.
We
That's
farm.
my
It's gonna
life.
be
That
difficult
is
when
my
I
life.
attach myself to him and we run in
Yeah.
together. So
That's my life. There's a
Well.
reason why I changed my name to Primary Me You Coward. That happens a lot.
Primary me, you coward.
That's awesome.
That was my one name change.
I
One
love
name
that.
change. Midstream, I got so frustrated by people running away or hitting me with some Lorentz or something
People
like that.
run from you in Crucible,
100%.
dude.
That's funny.
Dude, that is
100%.
that's honestly my goal in life is to have people I want people in real life to flinch when I speak. That's my goal in real life.
Yeah, I'm
Is
gonna go ahead
I
and
s-
tell you, if you're playing a game for fun, it's not as fun as you might think. Not as fun as you might think.
oh no, it doesn't sound fun, but it's really not about being fun. It's about
I
The
think that
making
would
sure they know their
if we could
place.
actually put that together, I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a
That'd be
nice
fun.
2v2.
That'd be fun.
Oh
I
my
think
God, Cog and I would get our ass kicked with my rusty skills right now and
I'd
Cog's
put on anytime
general
something like that
mid
happens, I put on
abilities.
Midnight Coup or something like that. Trust me, I wouldn't put on something, where I'd actually be able to reach out and touch folks. I'd have to.
Reach
Oh,
out.
you go light on us with me. Okay.
Yeah.
He'd kill us with all blues just to flex on us.
He's using a blue machine gun and he's killing you even though he hasn't even picked up an ammo brick yet.
Funny. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
What about you? Who else did E? You
Me.
said you got left?
I-
Yeah.
Physics?
E.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no,
physics, yeah.
me? Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
mine's gonna be same thing, kind of working on just trying to get the sword from Duality, working on crafted frames, just kind of doing those casually, make sure I take advantage of the, red outline it, do a little nightmare, see if I get the drop, knocking out some triumphs, and I do have to get my Iron Lord title. I didn't get to it last time, but just, focused on the dungeon and everything else, had different priorities, so things happened.
Oh, yeah, different priority. Oh, that's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
calling it. But I get called casual. Okay, cool. I see how it works.
Yeah.
I focus on different
I'm
things.
still part way to the Iron Lord title.
part way, but
You
not
have to get
completely.
dragged into the dungeon, it sounds like 2 hours
No,
later.
I do. It's just that Travis always wants to do it after the podcast. I'm like, we got all these other days where I got all that time to rock out. And he'd be like, all right, this specific window is what I want to do. And then I get called out. Named and shamed if I can't make that specific window. The man I'm available all
Hey,
week.
what you guys
never
need to
get him.
do, they make calendars, set a Google calendar appointment and
I
just
see
be like,
10
hey,
Well,
I gotta
if you're not available after the podcast, you could just say no, bro. You don't have to say yes and then keep me waiting. And
One time I'm
the reason I set it up on the podcast is because I'm already talking to you, and other
Uh-huh.
times, I hit you up and you leave me on red, and I just never hear from you.
stop it.
So.
He out here big cat.
Dude, seriously, I here. This is a true story. I
Mhm.
texted Cog once and I said, "Cog, let's do the raid," and he gave me the phone number of his secretary and said, "Go ahead and schedule something with her."
This man is out
I'm totally lying. He didn't do
No,
that.
yeah, he
That
told
would've
you
been
to call
awesome, though.
Maddie. He told you to
Yeah.
call Maddie and work it out with the last word.
That's
or
right,
Last
yeah.
Stand Media.
That was good.
He's like,
That
I
was
gotta
good.
get
That was
approval from Last Stand Media. I need the time
Yeah.
off, please. No, yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
call, I
it's-
call, so I call Cog, and then somebody picks up and says, "You've reached Cog's line. How may I help you?" And I'm like,
Good
Just
people.
don't
We love
mind.
people. I see what we doing.
Yeah.
They gave me a ticket number. They're like, "Can I have your
You
number?"
say that
I
how
was like,
we ain't doing
Bro,
as long as it's not
come on.
Beetlejuice or it's like 9
Yeah.
million, you're good.
It wasn't a ticket with like the ticket and the number. It was a raffle ticket.
Yo.
It wasn't-
That's right.
It's a
Yeah.
raffle. You
It's a
might
raffle, yeah.
might get to play with Cog.
There's a chance
Yeah.
if your raffle is
It's
drawn, if your
brutal.
ticket is drawn.
Yeah.
That's wild right there.
That's
wild
wild.
right there.
It's a very bureaucratic process.
Yeah.
But that's what it's like when you try gaming with the Lord. He's got
Hey, I mean,
big
you got the title
britches.
for a reason,
Yeah.
God,
And a Duke. He's a Duke too.
You guys are hilarious right now. You know that.
Well,
But I'm
I'll-
gonna
I'll-
get that solo duality, sir, too. Yeah, Mr. Solo Gamer. You can throw some people in the
take
back.
the opportunity to bring it back here as far as like where I see myself the rest of the
talk-
season.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah. I mean, I'll still be definitely playing a significant amount of PvP and Destiny 2. Like farming the containment, like
Mm.
Drain is definitely very attractive to me. It's not a
got it.
weapon that I feel like I pick up a lot, but it's a weapon that I'd at least want to be available to me to craft.
Yeah,
Um,
that incandescent hit different, bro. I got
It
that.
does, and that leads me to my mini tool, which is fantastic in both PvE and PvP. I could definitely see myself picking that up a little more often in PvP. Incandescent obviously being a very, very cool perk, but that thing just burns people out in general as far as being a 900 and just being really steady and nice. So very, very nice, PvP as well as PvE legendary. I still just obligatory wise, need to get enough reds to craft a beloved.
Love it.
I don't snipe very often in PvP. I find it boring, for a game where personally for me, I can move like crazy on MNK, and shotgunning is so much fun and even riskier now with them continuing to nerf it. It just, it makes it unrewarding in some ways, but rewarding in others. Me just finding a shotgun roll that works, best for me and that, kills most of the time. It's got to be damn near a god roll these days for sure. But it's rewarding to move around people in close quarters and be able to, pick folks off, hopefully get that one hit kill and move on to the next person. But sniping is something that is required at the highest levels of PvP. It's skill play. Sniping is skill play, most definitely. So to be able to at least craft one, even if I don't get around to crafting it anytime soon or even using it anytime soon, I need to get a beloved. So I find myself definitely in containment, probably a good amount. But there's some other like really dope games outside of Destiny that I really want to put a little bit of time into. The one that I am most looking forward to that I'll probably play sooner rather than later is a game called Neon White.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
Maddie
much
goes
fun.
crazy for
Oh,
it.
I'm
Oh,
like 4 or 5 levels,
Amazing.
4 or 5 chapters into that.
Oh
And
my
then,
god.
dude, I haven't been able to talk to anybody else about this yet because I picked it up, buddy of
Man.
mine, and this is the guy cog that I would do Forza lap time, like ghost times with. Same thing on Neon White. Like he beat me by like 500ths of a second. And I turn out to beat him by like 9,000ths of a second. We're sitting there just like fractions better, trading these like ghost times.
That's
Dude,
dope.
I have those first 2 level, like the first 2 are really tight little levels. God, I haven't had that much fun in a while. Yeah.
I just know when I pick that game up on stream, off stream, but I mean, I pretty much only do stuff on stream for the most part as far as
Yeah.
gaming.
Ditto.
Man, I know it's gonna be the whole stream. I'm just gonna be sitting there just speed running and having so much fun, man. Like the
Are we
aesthetics of the
friends
game.
on? We got to be friends on Steam because if you start getting into that, let me know when you do because it's so much
Okay.
fun.
Okay. Yeah. Send me like just send me a quick little like chat real quick, and I'll make sure that I add you
Yep.
because I'll be hopping on Destiny right after this. So, but yeah, super looking forward to that. When I start playing that game, you will see me on it a lot. I just don't know when I'll start. So yeah.
I've heard good things. Yeah, Maddie cannot stop raving. And then our boy E, the financial analyst, was it Dom? He's also
Yep.
talking about that game. Yeah, he's been raving. I've heard a lot of good things about that game.
It's got the skill ceiling on that thing to really get those like fractions of time off. It's really well made because you get a little bit better at the level and you'll be like, oh, let me replay again. And then you get enough and it shows you like a hint of where you can really cut off some time if you can like execute this. And you're like, okay, now I see where I can drop another couple of seconds. So good. Yeah, Neon White. It is like a $20, $25. It's not even that expensive, but that's a game you can get hooked on. You get a couple friends competing over times. It's over. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's like normal price of like $25. It's worth it. It's worth it. I've seen some. I haven't played it yet, but it's been on my radar for a while because my friend Akatsuki put me onto it. And I've seen a decent amount of gameplay to the point where I'm just like, wow, this is okay. I'm pretty sure this is going to, scratch the itch.
Yeah, and the nice thing is like some of these levels are like 15 seconds. They're just little
Really?
bursts. Yeah, you can go and then it's just trying to get better at it. So nothing takes that long in the game. And honestly, there's probably a whole lot of anime weeb story to it. But they give you a fast forward button and you can skip all the dialogue, of which I've actually skipped a lot because the gameplay is good, but there's a lot of dialogue. That's probably optional. It's up to you. But when one of the times I hit fast forward, I was like, I could have listened to all. There's a lot in there, so yeah, I skipped to the gameplay. Gameplay's amazing.
Looking at it now, looks cool.
I'm working through Tunic and both that right now. Tunic at every turn is always like, damn it. Tunic's a really, really good game too. That one's on Game Pass.
Shout out to Tunic.
That's
Shout
about
out to
all I
Game
got.
Pass.
Yeah, shout out to Game
Yeah,
Pass.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out
Man.
to 200-hour JRPGs that
There you
swallow
go.
your life and any semblance of cohesion to your day.
You got a new one you working on?
No, just Xenoblade
Yeah,
3. Yeah.
Xenoblade
Xenoblade.
Chronicles 3.
Oh yeah, you just can't. Yeah.
Do you game?
Yeah.
Do you game in the suit and tie as well?
Oh yeah,
Okay. All right.
for
When
sure.
nobody's okay. All right.
That's the uniform.
It's the uniform.
I'm home alone
There's a-
today, guys. There's no one here.
There's
I
a
was dressed like
question.
this
There's a
before.
question I could totally ask you right now
Podcast, you know?
that would break my YouTube monetization, so I won't. So I'll
Oh.
ask it after the podcast, but I can't.
I think I know what that is.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And
He
it
knows
and
better.
look, it has multiple uses. Okay, blindfold. All right, rope. Right. Okay, I'm just saying. The answer is yes.
The answer is apparently yes. Anyway,
Okay. We're thinking the
Yeah,
same thing.
There we
Yeah.
go.
That's about all I got for the show. Physics, seriously, a blast. We seem to get off on tangents, but love
I
your
love
wealth.
it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Like the rapport of you guys here, it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun. We could just get into just anything, and I love it. Thank you so much for having me back. I'd come back. I swear to God, like every other week, just to
Appreciate you,
just to
brother.
come. It's a lot of positivity, a lot of good vibes here, and I appreciate the invite. It's always a pleasure.
No
Means a lot.
doubt.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the kind words a bunch.
Yeah.
And again, for you, it's like the methodical takes, the thoughts of, the level-headed nature between all the Twitter chaos. It's always good to hear somebody bring some thought to it as opposed to just some emotion. So we appreciate you coming in, and believe me, PvP Sandbox times. Yeah, you're always definitely one to bring in for anything PvP. If we get some season 19 chatter, some survival, if we get anything like Travis is hoping for
Oh
a
yeah,
rank thing, I'm calling your number. It's definitely going to be that time.
sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Absolutely
What else
It's
you
gonna be a
guys?
bloodbath.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole. Or honestly, Travis may just be like, "Thank you. Everything sounds amazing."
Yeah.
It'll
I
never be. It'll
wouldn't
never be that good, but
the day they announce it, I think we should just like shut up and let Travis read the 12.
I'll
Like they
host the
announced a
episode.
ranking
yeah,
system,
I'm
right?
not. Yep.
Like we
If it
Yeah.
should
happens, I'll host the
yeah.
episode. I'll just be like,
Yes.
"Welcome to the last word with me." We can talk about this today. Yeah,
He just like takes the
100%.
all of our windows just slide out of frame and nobody is left, and he
guys,
zooms in.
I really don't try to talk about it every episode, but it would solve so many problems that it just organically keeps coming up. It just keeps coming up, man.
Yeah, that would be an episode.
Yeah.
That would definitely be an episode. But yeah, shout out to Physics, man. It was dope chopping with you at GCX, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's just cool, man. Like I said, love the content, love what you're doing. Always the vibes is always lit when you come through, and love to continue to see your journey, man. It's really cool stuff. And glad that you're back. That's what I like too. Back in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody needs to take a little bit of a break, pay
Yeah.
attention to your mental, physical health, self-care first and
Absolutely.
foremost. And folks want to know like how I stay level-headed with so much going on, and whether it be Twitter, whether it be on stream, whether it be somebody tries to troll or like poke or pry me or something like that. It most definitely is kind of just self-care that you don't see happening. A lot of meditation. I always like swear by
Hell yeah.
meditation most definitely. Waking up in the morning and just setting that mindset going forward is something that is hugely beneficial when it comes to just being level-headed and not being so impulsive. We're all, especially online, everybody wants to immediately drop in and give their take and their feeling about something. It's just like just step back for a second, be mindful, and give something a little more thoughtful. Meditation's huge on that. So yeah.
Nice. Good stuff, brother. No, it's so important. Mental health is so important. And we don't do a good job of taking care of ourselves and taking that step back sometimes. I think it is necessary, man. Good. That's actually great advice. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been streaming as much because added a third dog inside my house, and he's just younger, so it's like getting up early because in Texas there's no good time to give a husky a walk, but about 6 o'clock in the morning is about the best time to do that. So between my wife and I, it's 2 or 1. So getting up early, I have not been staying up as late, cutting the streams a little short, but it's sometimes just sitting there like same thing. I was like, I'm just tired, and it's just I've been going to
Yeah.
bed a little earlier, trying to catch up with some of that. It'll balance out, but. You too. I was like, you've been killing so many hours, man. You got it. You burn the candle at 7 different ends. So I know you need to just take like a Saturday and a Sunday, shut your phone off, binge
Oh,
like
that's this weekend.
a
That's this weekend.
Stranger Things, like or 4 different
Nope.
shows and nothing.
Bro. Chicago trip, chilling, no IOP. I'm taking some downtime.
Nice.
And
Good.
it's just necessary. Got to recharge. And no content creation for a little bit, and it'll be there. But I keep
Oh yeah,
that.
it's never going anywhere.
Yeah. So the flight's
I will
tomorrow.
not
I'm
be
excited.
taking a break. Breaks are for the week. So
Ah, the contrarian.
mental health is
Yeah,
a
there you
myth,
go.
and no, I'm serious.
Advocate is
no,
a
no,
whole
I'm joking.
personality trait for this guy, I swear.
I love
It's like, what does
I'm just
Travis
messing
do?
with you.
He's gonna say the opposite of whatever's
Lord.
going on.
I call him internally Lord Contrarian. Lord Contrarian.
Yeah.
Contrarian.
That's
No,
my
but
guy.
seriously, it's great hanging out with you guys. Ill, great meeting you. This guy, by the
Ill.
way, super
Promote me.
nice dude in person. very warm energy. You know, you meet a guy and you can tell that they're going to be a dick right away. It's very rare. It's very rare that you meet somebody and you can tell they're not a dick right away. But Ill's one of those people. So super cool guy. Love chatting with
Appreciate it.
you.
Yeah.
I will 1v1 you. You will beat me, just to be clear.
I mean, you never know. You never know.
You never know. You never know. Maybe me in my
not
prime,
here.
I'd stand a chance, but not right now. Yeah, terrible. Yeah. You can find me on IGN.com. Previews, reviews, Outriders World Slayer. Check out my Xenoblade review in a month when I'm done with that. Yeah, that's it. I'm glad to be here, guys.
Boys, Cog,
And I'll-
thank you. Enjoy your break coming up, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Excited. Flights in the morning tomorrow. Yeah, just excited. And I think I'm still bringing the little man, bringing a little Series S just
Oh,
in
you
case,
can game, but you don't need
Yeah,
to deal with all the
you
other
know.
stuff. That's fair.
Yeah, just
It's a
gonna be
gateway. It's a gateway, Cog. You're gonna
gateway.
do other things. Yeah.
I gotta have some fun. But I want to shout out the community. A couple times I was playing Destiny this week, and I got some really nice last word messages. Yo,
Wow,
listen,
nice.
last word, yada yada yada. I was like, oh, that's what's up, man. So really nice messages. And then like there was one trials match, like a lot that like you moving up on your card. I'm like, wait a minute, free. Oh, yo, I'm like I'm at 4, no losses. Got the mercy still in tuck. I'm like, okay, it might be a good run. And then the 5th match, there was someone who recognized me and was like, hey, Cog, oh my God, so fan. I'm like, oh,
Did
man,
he bend the knee?
and it was a very casual match that we won. So I got the
Yeah.
5. Bro, I came so close. Had 6, but then lost, and then the murder. I was like, oh, I was so
Yeah.
devastated. So I want have you gone Lighthouse with freelance?
No.
Does anybody go on Lighthouse freelance? I was curious.
I'm not.
That was the closest I came.
No, I've
haven't even
never
tried.
been. I've never been freelance Lighthouse. No,
I haven't even been close.
I
that was the
have.
closest.
I have.
That was
Yes.
the closest. Yeah, it was a good run, and then I made once I made the adjustment to what is it, the one with the boots that give you radiance, and it was like a Vex. I pretty much had the linear fusion joint going on. You know what I'm saying? I switched to that, and I was doing really good, and I had some decent teammates for once. I was like, all right.
It's a really cool exotic, by the way, too. Because I mean, even beyond the buff that it gives to fusions,
Talk
like
about it.
the reload all your weapons with Icarus
Bro.
Dash is super cool.
Bro,
Super
it's
cool.
literally transversives on demand and reload all your weapons.
All your weapons.
Is huge. I really
cool.
have an appreciation for those boots in PvP.
That's
Big
100%.
time. Yeah,
Mhm.
love them.
Yeah.
E, what you got going?
Yeah, just kind of working through a couple different things, working through Tunic, probably play a little Neon White on the side, and then I've got my wife's family's coming in town this weekend, so her parents are going to be here, so just kind of hanging out with them. It's hot as hell down here in Texas, so
Yeah,
probably not going to be
hot
seeing too
here.
much. But the nice thing is I got an excuse to go see Top Gun again, so I am extremely pumped because I enjoyed it the first time through. Yeah, I know, 56 degrees in San Fran. Enjoy, dude.
Jesus.
We were talking about that before the show.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what temperature is it? He's like, it's like 103 degrees here this weekend or something like that, so it's fine.
Woo.
But yeah, so it's like it's gonna be hot, so maybe watching a couple things, but other than that, just kind of chilling this weekend. Probably won't be streaming too much, and then back to it next week to see what happens in week 7, and then I gotta get my Iron Lord coming up. But yeah, just probably getting to a point where for the final 6-7 weeks, like Solstice isn't gonna take too long, so it's gonna be some variety thrown in there. Gotta keep the balance of like can't overkill Destiny so much when you finally get back into a new season, you hate it already. So the variety in the latter part of the season always helps. So it's a great time to catch up on backlog.
Yeah, Travis got me excited. I'm actually gonna for Outriders. I love this review, and I still think the game is funny. Destiny can learn a couple things, especially
Yes.
UI and management and builds. They really can. So I like.
Build crafting for sure.
Yes, I like to see the crash, and I love what you said, kind of how the end game works and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna fire that out. That World Slayer, see what's going on.
Yep.
They story though. You know what it is? I read they don't take themselves serious. Like
No.
I'm to the point where they know they're goofy and there's nothing with this that, and they just.
I
like,
don't know, man.
You think they
Sometimes
serious?
I think that, but then if you play the end game, you're like, oh, they are for sure taking themselves seriously, and it's kind of like kind of cringy. It really makes me
Clips that you
wonder.
put,
Yeah.
I was howling. Yo,
Yeah.
how you cut that up was nice.
Thank you. Did you like the ending where the guy goes?
Yes. Yo, I love that review. I
Thanks,
retweeted
man.
on Twitter, man. That was really you did a fantastic job with that one. You caught
Thanks.
it all the good points, but you also gave credit that look, the core gameplay is still fun as hell.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Outriders. It doesn't get enough credit for that. Obviously, they had their glitches in their server and all that stuff. But there's some things about it I still like.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank everybody for chat for being here today. Thank you, Physics, for being here. Of course, a pleasure, but definitely ours to make sure when you join us. So we appreciate the time, and you are always welcome, sir. If you're just like, hey, you guys got anybody? At some point, I got to get another collaboration again. I got a couple people that I want to line up because we had a good mix the other time. I want to get a couple PvP heads together and see what
PvP. We need
happens.
that
Yeah.
That would be
PvP.
that would be
That'd be
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Let me know too, because I'll definitely suggest a couple people that I have a good rapport with, and we could definitely go in.
I
But
feel
of
yeah,
course,
I can think of a couple. We might talk right after the show.
I
So
do it for a big
yeah.
moment
That,
too.
that
Like,
guy that made you go to orbit would be a good one to get on. We could talk about that. Yeah.
Lou, man, I'm telling you, that's the homeboy right there for sure. He shares the exact. My birthday was the 20th of June. He shares the exact same birthday as me.
oh,
So
nice, nice.
yeah, he's a
Birds
cool
of a
dude and
feather.
has a similar mindset for sure. So I'll plug if you don't mind, I'll plug a couple things.
Absolutely.
So
Do it.
of course, folks can find me illPhysics on most platforms. You can find my link tree, of course, in my Twitter bio to find out the platforms that I'm not illPhysics on. It's just illPhysics on a couple of other ones. But if it's okay to plug another podcast,
Go
just
for it.
because.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah, massive breakdowns.
Oh,
I had a
absolutely.
great chat.
Oh.
I had a great chat with Kit recently that dropped today, so definitely
He's
go
going to
check
be
out
coming
Massive
on the
Breakdowns.
show in a month or two.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Kit is definitely awesome, and we had a fantastic conversation about hand cannons primarily, but a little bit, of course, whenever it comes to me about community and kind of mindset. But yeah, go check that out. That just dropped today, and I had a great time on that episode. Recorded it. Talk about Audacity messing up. I had to record that like that was the third time we recorded that, almost that entire podcast.
Oh my god.
So yeah. Yep,
Damn.
Audacity messed up the first time. The second time, my power went out. We lost the entire recording. And so we had to record it 3 times, but we got it done. We got it done. So, but definitely go check that out. And it's a pleasure to be
Great
here. Thank you so
podcast.
much for having me. Yeah, great
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
All right. Well, for episode number 204, as we wrap up June, we are about halfway through 2022, which is a little crazy to say. So, next time you guys see us, we'll be in the second half of 2022. So, for this episode, it has been
The last word.
Last
Last
word.
word.